Morning, morning, morning. See what we have here. Beautiful song. Morning, sir. Always present. Morning, Roxanne. Thank you so much for my blooms as always. Roxanne, morning. Udani, morning. Glenn Richardson, morning, sir. Daniela Williams, morning to you. Linda Joseph, morning. Denise Bramble, morning, Denise. Brenda Isaac. Shah, morning to both of you. Lisa Burton, morning, Lisa. Roxanne sent some of that rain up this side now. The weather in my side is so bipolar. It's like the rain playing peekaboo, giving you a little thing, and then sun, and then a little the rain say hold that. 2 minutes. Yeah. Cyril Mayas, morning. Alberta Sampat, morning to you. Felix Hospitalis, morning. Morning. Anna Sisnat. Shelton Lewis, morning to you. J Dimple 66, good morning. Carol Boyce John, morning, Carol. Christopher Sylvester. Christopher say tell Lisa Paria back, bring back the money. Yes. Trini Bree, morning. Claire Carrington, morning to you. Jennifer Ashby Okuli, morning, Jennifer. Carlos Fonile, morning, sir. Don Khan, morning to you. $1 Million Man, morning. Leon Joseph. Nina Jennings. Jennifer Ferran, morning to you guys. Gabriel Phillip. Wazid and Doreen Pear, Camille Dean, Patriot, Jeremy Lewis, morning to all of you guys. And this is one Facebook. Marva James, morning Marva. Jennifer Nathan, morning to you. Alison Boyce, morning Alison. Gemma Alexander, morning. Annette Baird, Rosemary Headley, morning to you guys. Carol Myers, morning Carol. Carol, I wish I could say good rainy morning, but as I said, that rain, at least on my side, that rain not raining. Yeah, playing the fool. Because I know the weatherman had said we were supposed to get heavy showers from late afternoon into evening yesterday, and it's supposed to go through till Tuesday. But apparently the weather on my side didn't get a memo. Winston Jones, morning to you, sir. Rudolph Barnett, Ruth Franton, Jennifer Dorset, morning. Merle Durant, morning, Merle. Merle says she's in front of the TV, but the rain in USA delaying the match. Oh gosh. Yeah, and next time they need to know you don't have a World Cup in the rainy season. Sarah Richards, morning to you. John Edwards, morning to you. Christopher Serrett, Alison Blackman. Good morning to His Excellency President of Pleasantville, Nigel O'Connor, and First Lady Mauricia Kagan. Nigel, has your water situation been sorted out? Joycelyn Smallwhite, good morning to you. Pipes busting with water in Pleasantville. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about. Claudius Alexander, La Brea the side. Good morning, Claudius. Dexter tweets, Donna Walcott. Morning to you guys. Carol says we just had a shower. Well, hopefully it will make its way across on this side, Carol. Right. So I was contemplating to play Dr. Rowley's contribution in the Parliament on Friday during the media review. For those of us who may have missed it, I know the media would have showed little clippings of it, but if you didn't have occasion to look at it on the Parliament channel or to listen to it, it's worth the watch, I can tell you. And Dr. Rowley, he didn't spare Mrs. Prasad Bisesa at all, right? He went all out. Right after she spoke, I believe he got up because he had something else to do, and so he would have put in his 2 cents, and then I think he left shortly thereafter. But I think as he was about to speak, she got up to leave the chamber, right? So it was interesting. 45 minutes. Just in saying I'm not getting any water today. Plenty scattered showers though. Needs that for the plants. Yes. Archangel morning. Winston says he did listen. Sad Bisesa on her presumptive tax. I don't know. It's like this woman just she different, but I ain't gonna lie, she different. She just latching on to this tax thing because she figure, but it's not helping. Let me get this. Turn this off. So let's give me 1 second. Right. Let me get this. Where is it? Right. So the Bacchanal in the UNC camp, the latest soap opera in Trinidad and Tobago, which is the UNC internal elections. Never a dull moment. I have to say, boy, just let me see. What am I looking for? Where is it? Yeah. So let me get this here. Is this it? Just now, give me 1 second, folks. I'm looking for something. When you want to talk about 1,010 things, that's what is happening. Certainly don't have the time to talk to say that. That's what I'm looking for. This yesterday. Where is this thing going? Just show me. Also this somewhere. Right, that's what I need to do. Oh, 1 second. Just right. So let me play this. Please.
And any number that one newspaper would have chosen to advance as part of their own agenda in seeking to defeat the PLM. Others have tried it before, my dear friends. The PLM has withstood that before. The PLM will withstand that again. And yesterday, there were a maximum of 5,000 people in Woodford Square. And it raises a question. It raises a question, ladies and gentlemen. If they cannot speak the truth in small things, imagine what they will do in big things. My mother used to say, show me a liar and I'll show you a thief. And if they can come and try to convince you that you have 30,000 people when they have 5, you can imagine when they see $5,000, they will feel us 30,000. When they see 5 million, they will feel us 30 million. That is what they're all about. If they cannot speak the truth in small things, ladies and gentlemen, don't expect them to speak the truth in big things. What is amazing about all of that is that they have come to the national community arguing that they're advancing new politics. New politics. New politics. Look at their faces on the stage yesterday. Ladies and gentlemen, half of them more than me.
Boy, I ain't lying. I really miss that man, for real. Mr. Manning had a way with words. Yes, and he was certainly an asset and a treasure to the PNM. So as he said there, his mother used to tell him, show me a liar and I'll show you a thief. Well, I can show you a whole party of liars, an executive of liars. Some of them vying for positions in a certain internal election on the executive, the NATEX. And some of them have aspirations to be ministers of government after 2025. So I played that for a particular reason. Let me see, boy. And already the trolls come out. One by the name of Mark says, remember when Manning called Rowley Wajang and a region girl? All right. Hold on, Mark. I have something for you. Remember this? Tell me if you remember this one, Mark.
The Kamala Prasad predecessor today, who is presenting herself as an alternative Prime Minister to Trinidad and Tobago, is just not ready, my dear friends. Lacks the political skill, lacks the political experience, lacks the political training, lacks the political acumen, and will be a disaster if, God forbid, she becomes Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
That is
Kamala Prasad predecessor today, who is presenting herself as an alternative Prime Minister to Trinidad and Tobago, is just not ready, my dear friends. Lacks the political skill, lacks the political experience, lacks the political training, lacks the political acumen, and will be a disaster if, God forbid, she becomes Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago.
Remember that one, Mark? Or you forget that? Or you like to say, Manning did one way about Rowley. He one way about Kamala too. But all they don't talk about that. Coming to talk nonsense and tell me about Kamala, talk about the BS going on the road. What BS? What BS? Boy. Well, stay tuned. Stay tuned. You know, it's amazing when I listen. I listen to all of those who are opposed to the PNM. And the most echoed sentiment you get from among all of them is we had to beat the PNM. And we had to beat the PNM. And we had to beat the PNM. That's all. That's all. We need to come together to beat the PNM. Not they need to come together to improve the crime situation. Not that they need to come together to fix the economy. We need to come together to beat the PNM. So that's all it is. Beat the PNM, beat the PNM, beat the PNM. But again, I will ask people like Mark, if what the PNM doing is so terrible, and according to you, is that sort of the BS that the PNM and Rowley doing, why is it so difficult to beat the PNM? Why? It should be very easy. If, as you all keep saying, this is the worst government in Trinidad and Tobago's history, the worst, and it was easy to beat those that weren't the worst, why is it so difficult to beat this PNM? I ask him that question. Why you all need to come together, and we need to stand together, and all these smaller parties need to come together and join to beat the PNM? I'm confused. That logic not logicking. It should be very easy to beat the PNM. But yet still, or you can't even maintain unity in your own party. Watch how the Star Team and the United Patriots fighting like crab in a barrel, cussing one another. All kind of things that the PNM, the supporters of the PNM have been saying about these people for the last donkey years. All of a sudden, and when we were saying that, so for people like Mark used to say, we're drinking Balize juice and all kind of foolishness. But look at what happening now, right? Look at what happening now. You have those on United Patriots all of a sudden coming out to tell us the wrongdoing on the part of those on the Star Team. But we don't know that already. This years now we're talking that. So what they're saying is nothing new. We're not surprised by these things. It's just that now what? All of a sudden all our eyes open and all they realize. And what is even worse is that you have people like Mark there on YouTube. The person on Facebook one day we're talking about. Yeah, true. I don't know if it's Jerome Moses or one of them changed the name or if this is a new one. Are prepared to install or to have come into office a man who is on $1 million bail for fraud and misbehavior in public office, right? This man is sitting as the chief whip in the parliament. This man is going up for the position of deputy political leader on the slate of the leader of the opposition and the leader of the United National Congress. This man has aspirations to represent the seat of Pointe-a-Pierre once again in the next general election. And finally, this man, who is the shadow minister for energy, more than likely has hopes of being the next Minister of Energy in Trinidad and Tobago, but he's on $1 million bail for fraud and misbehavior in public office. A person such as that would not even get to come anywhere close to the screening committee of the People's National Movement. But rest assured, David Lee will be screened and David Lee will be selected to contest the seat of Point of Pay once again, right? Despite his legal troubles. There was a time when Kamala used to say, clear your name and come back. She had tell David Lee to clear his name. So David, everything is good. You know why? Because when David Lee walked out of the offices of the FIB, first thing he said, PNM at its best. PNM at its best, right? But that is not what members at the start of the United Patriots telling us about David Lee and his troubles, okay? But just remember, at one point in time, they were defending him and they were silent on his issues, but now they're talking about that. They tell all the David Lee's a whole scam. We have a man who is under police investigation for prostitution and human trafficking, right? Taking young girls from Venezuela or wherever else and bringing them to Trinidad and so on and offering them, and probably girls from Trinidad and Tobago too, people daughters, and prostituting them so that he could fatten his pockets. We have two former government ministers who were belonging to his party, one of whom signed a sworn affidavit in which he indicated that this individual came to him and offered women to him, gave him a card, and told him, here, well, if you're like here, give me a call if you change your mind and we could organize, where's your preference, and we could sort that out for you. Two, and here I was saying former government ministers under that party. This man is sitting in the parliament today under police investigation for human trafficking and prostitution. We have another one who was fired from not one but two public utility companies for gross misconduct, seeking to engage in malfeasance, to rob the company, to rob taxpayers, right? Bid rigging and the like of it, giving contract to companies that could not do the work. And we have to ask the question, how did he get that job? How did he get that job? Could it be because the partner who under investigation for prostitution and human trafficking was the deputy chairman of TSTT at the time? Is that how he got that job? The partner who he went to university with? I wonder if he get a cut too. So did he put him in that position so he could do things like that and all of them could eat our food? But people like Mark has no problem with a man like that sitting in the government, representing you in government, right? Government of Trinidad and Tobago. So if he could engage in that type of activity, working in public utility companies, what would he do if he's a minister, a government minister, and he has power? What would he do? Mark ain't concerned about that. You know why? Because Mark wants to come and tell you foolishness about the dotishness on ODBS that's going on. And he come back here deal with this nonsense about where the 2.6 billion gone. And again, you see, when they only know about propaganda. The Minister of Finance, a couple of weeks ago in the Parliament, would have laid the original report of the Auditor General, the erroneous report, and he indicated the Auditor General has agreed to lay the correct report, the amended report, in August, by the end of August. So the corrected report. So when he asked him where the 2.6 billion gone, but you know when that audited, when the amended report is submitted, and they see that the 2.6 billion and the explanation given by the minister with respect to this error that occurred in terms of the check clearing mechanism in central bank and so on. You know, they're going to say nothing. You feel go come back here and say, hey, well, right, the problem solver realized no money was missing. No money at teeth. You feel people like he will come back here and say that? No, fingers on their lip, the mouth of a zip, you have nothing to say. But as I told another one of them, Gramoxone, Biram, and Rope will sell out when that report is published. And only realize no money is missing and no money at teeth. And then all of a sudden sing a song about Rowley is a rapist and Rowley is a pedophile. That's the default argument. When it is that they realize they're looking like fools, because I keep making the point. You know who was saying money missing? Kamala not asking where the 2.6 billion gone because she knows no money is missing. Munilala asking where the 2.6 billion gone because he know no money is missing. He knows that the explanation given by the minister is accurate because the central bank hasn't come out and said, no, the minister misrepresented us. That what the minister said and this $2.6 billion check clearing error didn't happen. Did the central bank say that? And as I drew to your attention before, the central bank and the Minister of Finance ain't no friend. Because the minister would have told us, but then again, people like Mark don't listen to the Parliament channel. All they just listen to is the Underground Report, Douglaya Politics, Professor Misinformation, and Captain Clueless on 91.9. That's what they do. They will read and foolishness from the kick out the PNM page. They might know about Parliament channel and everything. So the minister would have indicated that he would have sent a request to the central bank some time ago, asking them for information with respect to this new $100 bill that they will be bringing out in December. He wants to know who are the printers, what is the cost to the taxpayers, and all of these different things. And the central bank wrote back to him, citing the Central Bank Act, which says we don't have to tell you nothing. We don't have to give you that information, and we're not giving you that information. So he cannot compel central bank to do anything. He can't force central bank. So if they want to say, well, the reason why central bank is saying nothing is because the minister threatened them. Central bank has demonstrated, and the minister is on Hansard, that they ain't taken no instructions from the Minister of Finance, right? None. And if they feel a statement has been made that misrepresents them, they would have put out a statement long time to say that is not correct. So when these clowns are asking where the 2.6 billion going, the minister has given you an explanation. Ask yourself why the political leader of your party hasn't accused the government of thieving any 2.6 billion. They would have been singing that song every day, every Monday night on the forum. They ain't saying that. You hear Dave Tanku say any 2.6 billion missing? No. None of them have said that because they know. And so that's why they will just touch on it. And instead of dealing with that, you know what they decide to do instead? They get a copy of the Auditor General's report and want to tell you about who the government bought some 4 machines to deal with scrap metal, and they pay 26,000 US and they come yet, and that kind of foolishness. They go in talking about everything else in the Auditor General's report. But you ain't hear them saying nothing about no money thief, no billions thief, and no billions missing. The Auditor General simply said the documentation to support the additional revenue was not presented. That's what she said. So she's saying, well, that 2.6 billion, that 3.3 billion, they make up that. That's what she said. She didn't say no money missing and thief. No. She said, well, I haven't seen the documents. So the minister say, well, okay, we'll extend by 4 months so you could get the documents that you need and correct the report. And by the end of August, you will submit the correct report. So again, you can't say that the minister forced the Auditor General to do an amended report, because we see how Jaiwanti fighting Colman Booth, fighting Reggie Amo, and with an attorney like Anana. He ain't going to let no minister bully the Auditor General. And she not going to falsify no report to end up in no courthouse and end up in silver bracelets. And if it is anything that they could do to embarrass this government, they would. So hold your horses now. By the end of August, the amended report will come out and you could read it. Of course, you're not going to do that. Okay? We know that. You ain't going to read that. So, boy. Anyway, folks, so let me get into what I wanted to touch on, right? So I was making the point earlier that I played that soundbite from Mr. Manning. Show me a liar, and I'll show you a thief. You all know. Well, all right, I ain't gonna play it.
How's your fit?
I ain't gonna play it, right? Because I know I don't like to hear Anil Roberts. But someone sent me, I try not to listen too much to his volume. So someone sent me a clip. Well, a link to his latest Doubles and Coffee. And of course, he's always want to run to the defense of his leader when she can't defend herself. And after Dr. Rowley, rained some verbal blows on her on Friday, and she done can't walk already, so she had to struggle after that. He thought he wanted to pull a Hail Mary and he wanted to play knight in shining armor to come to her defense. Now this man could lie. If he could lie, he do a Doubles and Coffee to say that with respect to foreign exchange, that when Kamala Prasad demitted office, so he said in 2014, Kamala left $7.8 billion in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund, $7.8 billion US in 2014. First of all, Kamala did not demit office in 2014. He demitted office in 2014 after he resigned in disgrace as the then Minister of Sports and also resigned as a member of parliament for W. Mera, which was probably the best thing that could have happened to W. Mera between 2010 to 2015 was when we saw the back of that bald-headed lout, right? But he come to tell you, Kamala left 7.8 billion US dollars in the Heritage and Stabilization Fund in 2014. Really? The Heritage and Stabilization Fund has never reached 7.8 billion. It has never crossed $6 billion, right? But he coming to tell you, she leaves 7.8 billion. And that is what he does. He pulls these arbitrary figures out of his rectum and comes and spreads it. Because I don't know if he figure everybody who might have sight of his videos is of the waterfront ilk. You know what is being debated today? Everything good, everything good. Ashina, the bill. What bill? You don't know. And they figure everybody is like that. And I keep telling them, if you're going to lie, make sure the truth is well hidden. We know that the fully dones don't know how to do research. But it's not only the fully dones that would happen to see your videos. You understand? And all you have to do is to just go and Google the HSF annual report 2015. And you will see the figure is there. And it says that when they demitted office, the balance on the HSF fund was 5.63 billion US, not 7.8. I don't know where he get that 7.8 from. I don't know. If it is that he probably started drinking early that morning. But then again, it's something that he does all the time. He seemed to be a little lucid in that video, right? A little lucid. But again, they come in with these lies. Show me a liar and I'll show you a thief. This is the same man who said it wasn't me in room 201. That was PNM voodoo, PNM Photoshop, PNM able to Photoshop your voice and all. Now they would tell you it's AI. But when that was back then, AI was nothing to alter people's voices. But they alter his voice and they were able to Photoshop his face too. The jersey that he was wearing, the Ministry of Sport jersey, everything the PNM Photoshop in that room 201 video. Now, in order for you to be able to, well, anyway, let me leave that. Right? Show me a liar, and I will show you a thief. Mr. Manning said that. And if they will lie in the little things, then they would lie in the bigger things too. And they continue to demonstrate that. So when the leader come in the parliament on Friday talking about presumptive tax, Dr. Rowley was right to tell a presumptive tax. What is a presumptive tax? Where that come from? And then he went on to advise the population. If ever the government implements a presumptive tax, pay for it with a presumptive check. You know, don't really know how to respond to them. Yeah, pay for it with a presumptive check. That is the stupidness that they like to come with. And here are threatening. Tell the population, because be careful, you know, be careful. I have documents. I have documentary evidence. Now, everybody who knows how Kamala Persad-Bissessar operates knows that when she have documentary evidence, she always puts it up on the screen on the Monday night forum. Kivan, you have that there? You have it. Is it up on the screen? Can somebody tell me, is it up on the screen? You always like to put it up on the screen. You have documentary evidence. How long now you tell us that they plan to increase VAT, raise it to what? 17%, as it is in Barbados? It's 12.5 in Trinidad, and Barbados is 17. How much are they going to increase it to? So they dropped it from 15, and now they're going to increase it. Right? And she have documentary evidence. Where is this documentary evidence? Where you get that from? Help us out now. We don't know with respect to the inheritance tax that she was singing that song, and then Dinesh Rambali come and tell us when he did his press conference that the source of that inheritance tax is her vivid imagination. When she consults with her sources, Grey Goose and Forest Park, you know? Yeah, all of a sudden she'll get these visions. She could see the future. And it came to her in a punching-induced dream that the government is going to bring inheritance tax. Only all set of makeup tax she come in with, but can't produce one document. It reminds me of when she was when was that, right? 2018 or 2019, sometime thereabout. Could be in the lead up to the 2020 general election too. She went on a platform. She said, I hold in my hand here a dossier with over 150 properties owned by the 1%. And on another night, I will tell you all about who owns these properties. The other night never came. Another time she said she have a pink file with all Marlene statistics, Marlene McDonald. She have it here. Always waving document, but we can't see what's in it. Can't see what's in it. But we know she like to put up things. When they got the confidential memo with respect to the investigation into Foster Cummins, and Jayanti came with it, and she hold it up and we saw it. We saw the document, and then they went further to publish it on all their propaganda Facebook pages. Well, put up the document you have now, Ms. Prasad, showing that the government going to increase tax. VAT from 12.5% or whatever. You ain't calling a figure. Notice she ain't quote no figure. She just said they're going to increase VAT, but then tell us what figure they're going to increase, because she have a document from the Ministry of Finance that says they're going to increase VAT and they're going to bring a presumptive tax. So we know we making up taxes now. Huh? So she ran out of specific taxes to mention. So she will say, well, they come in with a presumptive tax. So any tax that comes, if any, because you remember I tell earlier that is what it was. Now they're trying to link the inheritance tax with property tax to say that if you get a deferral and then you die, your family have to come and pay the taxes that you got a deferral for, and that is the inheritance tax. But that's not what they were telling us before. She was singing a different tune. But they were always shifting the goalpost. And we're supposed to believe people like that. Rodney Charles quite recently said, and she took issue with that, nobody with integrity wants to associate themselves with the UNC. Let me repeat that. Nobody with integrity wants to associate themselves with the UNC. I wonder why. And so when people with integrity gravitate to the PNM, and you even hear a rumor that certain persons might be running for a seat under the PNM, they start to malign and attack. So they heard that a rumor that Dr. Wayne Frederick, who is the former president of Howard University, may be a potential candidate for the PNM. Well, they start to malign he. They hear that Brian Lara might be a potential candidate. Well, start to say things about he. But how come nobody of integrity? We hear even a rumor that anybody with integrity wants to represent them in any election. Not even a rumor. They can't even start a rumor. That's the tell. But Rodney Charles says so. It's not Keith Rowley. It's not Coleman Bird say that. Rodney Charles, who's sitting right next to her, to the left of her. And you could tell, as Dr. Rowley had to tell her on Friday too, she afraid to look left. Afraid to look left because Rodney, I thought she was going to adjust the seating. Because on last Monday night forum, she told Chief Whip, she's hurt. She's really hurt that, and this man sitting right next to her in the parliament, and we need to adjust that seating. I thought I would have seen Rodney sitting in the back, but Rodney sitting right next to her. But she ain't looking left at all, and all of a sudden, who every time she gave a presentation, always looking so and turning left and turning right. She was fixated on the speaker, except for when she engaged in crosstalk with Coleman Bird. Right? She didn't want to turn to see Rodney at all. I wonder why. Right. Nobody of integrity wants to associate themselves with the UNC. I want to play something for them. Right? And I want to play this for Mark. Since your party squeaky clean, every allegation of wrongdoing is PNM propaganda. How much times are you going to sing that song? That is why you all are where you are, and you will remain where you are. Because contrary to popular belief in the fully done scam, the right-thinking citizens of this country don't like to be taken for fools. When the evidence is staring them in your face, right? There's the saying, you're pissing in my face and calling it rain. Well, I always say, they're rubbing feces in our face and telling us it's cold cream. That's the UNC. That is what they do. So I see in hardcore evidence that tells me this is what is. But you tell me, no, that is not so. The PNM make up that. Don't believe the PNM. Vote for us. Vote for us. Right? Let me get this here. Let me play this. Where is it? Just let me get it. I see even Joel D'Souza and all abandoned Kamla. Same Joel D'Souza. The hairdresser. Who is to defend Kamla to the hilt. The same Joel D'Souza who Kamla Prasad Bissessa gave the opportunity. She got 10 days. Kobo sweat. A Kobo sweat in the Senate. She abandoned Kamla, now going across the Rushton and the Patriots. I want to play this exchange between an official who works at the Kuva-Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation, and I'm guessing a constituent, right?
What going on?
So let's listen to this.
Going on with the corporation, Sean, with this man Ryan Rampasar, wherever he name is, whatever he name.
Ryan Rampasar is the chairman of the Kuva-Tabaki Talparo Regional Corporation. He replaced Henry Awong, who is now on Rushton Parry's team.
Yeah, I set up people and he leave all the out.
He got directive from the leader.
He got directive from the leader. The leader is Kamala.
Yeah.
And we understand what was the objective behind the whole thing.
I don't understand that at all.
What happened is, I don't understand, however, the persons that we hire is to really do work in La Hoqueta Talparo to try and bring home the seats for me, right?
Yeah.
So all of us compromise we need, and then that was submitted by the leader.
Done that is this leader actually didn't notice it so because how he could take give permanent work or hire people not on that contract like how he did normally and hire 15 days and whatever and things like that and give them a La Hoqueta. What's so special about La Hoqueta?
Proposal come from the leader stating that if we give these people permanent employment, gainful employment, or casual employment, they would be able to conduct a certain amount of work that we are requiring that they do then. So that is the reason we all agreed to use the names that the leader and the party them would have submitted to us.
I don't feel that is right. I'll tell you why I don't feel that is right. Why only La Hoqueta? So why did they contract it out just like what is normally do? Why they give everybody in La Hoqueta permanent? And why you can't get somebody permanent? Why other contractor?
No, listen, it's not that we wouldn't get somebody permanent eventually, you know. If we win La Hoqueta Talparo.
Never will win that and will continue when playing a game and you would never win it. Stop saying all will win places where or not winning it ever.
No, but you
never change up at all, Sharon. Never.
You're saying that just like the other people, however.
Because we on the ground, we know what's going on. All you're playing, all you don't know what's going on. You feel you, Sharon, stand up for the right thing, because this is not the right thing. I telling you, as a person on the ground, I don't need to be permanent. I never want to do anything with it anyhow. But let me tell you something, I stand up for the rest of the people on them, and I don't think this is right at all. Let me tell you what would be right in my eyesight. Let me tell you. The leader, she weak, and she ever start weak people following she right now, and I don't like that at all. Let me tell you why I say that. Because if Ryan, they hire somebody for raising my La Hoqueta, why all of you could not give La Hoqueta same contract work, just like everybody else, and hire each contract, each councillor would have been able to get somebody permanent in there. Why? So why we can't get both fair? We're not going fair at all. And this is not fair, and I don't like it at all. And that's how I feel about it, because I'm not fighting for me. I always fighting for other people, not myself.
So who are you fighting for?
I'm fighting for you and people who I find should stand up for the right things. And I think, Sharon, that you should stand up for the right things.
Not to say that we did not agree.
That is not right.
We agreed to compromise based on the statistics and the database that we are working with. We just didn't blindly stand up on something.
Yeah, we're going on. You see, all going with whatever database and all this sort of madness. Yeah, we're going on. When all you do win this time, I want to know what database all was going with after this.
Well,
after this election, we should tell exactly how wrong all is and every single thing, and I'm not listening to the people on the ground. You can start standing up.
You can't tell me about being on the ground, because I have been on the ground. I have always been on the ground.
But you listen, Sharon. You on the ground, and how come you're not fighting for the people on them then? If you're on the ground, you know what they're doing is wrong.
I'm not fighting for the people on the ground.
Yes, because why you should stand up with the rest of them and team up with the rest of them for something that is not right at all.
So if your boss telling you something, right? And they bring a proposal to you.
I will stand up and say that is not right.
If they bring a business proposal to you, right? And they're telling you, well, listen, Keith, if you try this, this could work. And
okay, I agree, Sharon. If they come and say that, and I feel that it will work, I'll say yes. But how much time did they have? How much time to have this party try, and it never took how much time?
So who tell you we have tried that, what we tried this time?
Let me tell you something, what did the party try on the Kamala for the general election? Then not everything was going in north. Every single thing, bread, stove, mattress, every single thing was going in north. And did they win? No, they did not win. So why? So why only keep on giving only PNM places, areas that all know all are not going to win just so easy?
Why are they saying it's PNM places?
Because it's PNM that is not going to win them areas, Sharon.
No,
strong areas all up there. Now, PNM.
You're not listening to me. We have very strong PDs that we would win by not much of a majority. However, when we do the database, there is a lot of UNC people that hasn't been coming out and voting. We are saying.
You know why they're not coming out and voting? This is the reason why they're not coming out and voting.
Well, that's something like audio gate, so using public monies to try and engage in propaganda and campaigning. So we're not giving persons jobs in the Kuba, Tabaki, Talparo region, Lapita, and so on, based on merit. We're giving it because we're trying to buy votes. And we're trying to what? They're hoping to win Lapita, Talparo. So as the man said, the fridge and the stove and the furniture didn't work. Jolene tried that in 2020, it didn't work. Now will you come in with what? To offer them permanent employment? Well, I'll tell the people of Lapita, take it. Take it. Same thing I'm going to say. Put your ex by the Balizi. Right? Put your ex by the Balizi. First, I come in doing work in Lakata Talparo. Where is Jaylene John? She working in Lakata Talparo. So this is how they expect to win the seat now. Bobol. Now, if that is how they want to run a corporation, just a regional corporation, imagine if they're in power and they control the treasury. They are the executive and they control the government, central government. They're running bubble and racket in local government. So what do you think they will do in central government? Mr. Manning says, show me a lion, I'll show you a thief. If they cannot be honest in the small things, you expect them to be honest in the big things? But they're showing you, right? They're showing you. And the guy said, he don't find that is fair. What is all you're trying to do? Well, you can't win that seat. But you're trying to use public money to see if you could buy a vote. Voter party, in a sense. Again, people work and so on and say, well, like, you had to vote for. So what? You will tell them when they go to the polls, they have to take a picture of the ballot, which is illegal, to prove. Otherwise, what? You'll take back the job? You fire them? Okay. I wonder if Mark/Jerome Moses is listening. Remember I told them last time, come and defend your leader. Otherwise, I'll block you. So you can change your name to Mark to avoid getting blocked. When you're not too bright. Otherwise, fully done. I come and pull them kind of all over my eyes. You ain't got away. I just tell you. But anyway, I want to play something else for you guys, right? All your horses. Yeah, we're playing some clips today. Let me get this here. Where is it? All of a sudden now, everything that the PNM was telling you all about these people over the years. Where is it? Let me get it here. Yeah. Hold on, one sec. Right. No, that's not it. Let me get it here. Where is it? Right. I want to play a little bit from the Coffee Man. Remember he? Victor Roberts? Yes, sir. So, give me 1 second. Take it from 46 minutes. Right.
We're climbing higher, we're climbing higher, into the fire, into the fire. All I really feel people on this team making joke. This team is not a bunch of jokers like the other team, you know. This team is individuals who clearly, without a shadow of a doubt, know what is needed to fix the problem. But I don't want you to listen and believe one part of my friend's statement when he say forget everything on TikTok. Because I saw a TikTok video recently, and on that TikTok video, I saw an individual saying that I have nothing to say. My attorneys will deal with that. And when the media asks the question, so you mean you have nothing to say? The individual said, no, my attorney will deal with that because, you know, it was my birthday. It was my birthday. And I am my mother only child. That is what the individual said. And because of being your mother only child, today the FIU is investigating where this $3 million came from in a certain account. So when people talking, listen, my program on social media is facts, not fiction. I just deal with the facts. And until you could tell me how you come by that $3 million in your account, then you should not even be anywhere. Whether on a blackboard, whether on a whiteboard, or whether on a slate. Remember a long time ago, boy with the school Kyle, you had a slate to deal with. Well, I know the senior understand that. But ladies and gentlemen, on a serious note, these are some of the things that we face. And you cannot tell me that a particular individual cannot give an account for $3 million. And today, we are speaking about voting, and we are speaking about getting back into government. We are speaking all these things. Ladies and gentlemen.
Let's say mouth open man to jump out, so to speak. I want to ask, now that is Victor Roberts, right? Victor Roberts, also known as the Coffin Dragon Man. He was the man who was dragging Coffin with pictures of the Prime Minister, the President, ministers of government all over the country, going in front of people's house, ministers' house, and so on, with his Coffin, right? And talking about, oh, they killed the country and all kind of things. And then the supporters want to know, well, why all of this thing happening in the country? Between he, Dragon Coffin, and Jolene John telling you about Bodong Maruga by Michelle Benjamin family, if you want to do a little thing, talking about Morocco Hawks and Papaniza. But anyway, what is this $3 million that he's talking about, right? I want to ask him, how long have you had concerns about this $3 million that this person was under investigation? Now, this story was aired, of course, in the year 2020, in 2024, right? To be exact, the 30th of May, 2020. 4 years now, a little more than 4 years. Query over $3 million account. Cops probe $3 million bank account of woman close to Princestown MP. A woman dear to the Princestown Member of Parliament, Barry Parra, is being investigated by police in connection with a bank account with close to $3 million in deposits. Sunday Express investigation, which commenced last year, has revealed that the personal account of the close relative, who is a housewife, was reported to the FIU by a banking institution. An intelligence report was then prepared by the FIU and submitted to the Financial Investigations Branch of the TTPS to conduct an investigation. The FIU does not have investigative powers. A criminal investigation has since been launched into the source of the money, and officers have compiled a list of contractors who they believe could assist in the investigations. Kickback. The Sunday Express has confirmed that police officers have visited the office of the Prime Minister for material that could possibly help them during the period Padarat was employed by then Prime Minister Kamla Persad-Bissessar as her advisor. While employed in that position, Padarat's job specifications including assisting the Prime Minister with the planning and organizing of policy and other related duties. He received a salary of $18,000 per month plus $2,500 for transport allowance, $20,500. Attorney, client not obligated to be interviewed. Police sources told the Sunday Express officers attached to the FIB visited the central Trinidad home of the woman on January 8 this year, seeking to interview her, but she declined to be interviewed. The following day, January 9th, the woman, through her attorney Renuka Rambajan, wrote to one Inspector Alfred of the FIB declining any interview which was scheduled for January 10th. The legal letter noted that on January 8th, an officer who gave his name as Mr. Codrington visited the home of the woman where he gave her Alfred's number. Subsequent to that visit, the woman, name called, telephoned you, Inspector Alfred, and was informed that you wished to interview her in connection with an ongoing investigation into the offense of money laundering. The attorney stated that based on instructions, her client then inquired of you whether she would retain the services or should retain the services of an attorney at law, to which you nonchalantly replied to her that it was up to her. In these circumstances, I wish to advise you that my client has been advised she is not obligated in law to attend and partake in any interview process. Additionally, the attorney stated her client wished to be provided with a measure of disclosure before she makes a final decision as to whether or not she will participate in the process. According to the letter, such disclosures are as follows: whether or not she is a suspect in the commission of a specific offense, whether your purpose to conduct an interview under caution, and if the answer to that is yes, whether you propose to administer a Rule 2 or Rule 3 caution. 3, the gist of the allegation made against my client if she's a suspect. 4, advance notice of any documentation which you may propose to seek my client to comment upon so that I may seek her instructions and then render advice thereon. Additionally, the attorney should state the investigators propose to conduct a fair interview, and then these matters are consonant with basic norms of fair procedure. I wonder if every person who is arrested or who is to be interviewed by the police will be afforded all of this thing. Tell me in advance what it is you have. So let me decide if I want to present myself for questioning. Tip me off now, right? Show me what documents you have. Am I a suspect? Why am I a suspect? Show me, send me the documentation of everything that you have that scores me to be a suspect. And then I will decide if I come in and talk to you. That's how it is work, right? Padarat, I have no information. Shortly thereafter, the letter was dispatched. The woman left the country for the United States. Interesting. On March 22nd, Padarat also left TNT for the US and is still there. TNT's borders were closed at midnight on March 22nd. Interesting. Contacted on March 24th via telephone, Padarat said, I am a parent, being for a politician. My infant daughter is an American citizen who does not hold dual citizenship. I didn't apply for citizenship because of the vicious political attacks, knowing that she would be used by my political opponents as a pawn in the political arena. Padarat also indicated his daughter was required to leave TNT in January for her medical checkups. Since then, she has been in the US with my family while I have been back and forth. Padarat was again contacted by the Express via telephone on April 3rd at 4:41 p.m. and his response was as follows. The Express asked, are you aware that your relative is the subject of an ongoing police investigation? This is his mother, of course. Padarat, no. As far as I know, she was asked for an interview and she has put it in her lawyer's hands. That's as far as I know. Question, have you or the woman been contacted by the TTPS regarding any investigation into monies deposited? If yes, when? Padarat, no. I said her lawyer has responded and that's as much information as I have. Sunday Express, did you give your relative, in this case your mother, over $2.5 million to place in her account? If you did, can you state the source and why it was deposited into her account? All of those things will subject, as I said, to discussions between her lawyer and the police. I have no information as to what this is about. Victor Roberts, just this week gone there, is now raising the issue. And he is now saying that unless Padara could answer for where that $3 million come from, he's not supposed to be on a blackboard or whiteboard or slate. He shouldn't even be sitting on the NATEX. But this is 2020. I want to ask Victor Roberts, when did you come to the realization that Padara's story was cock and bull? Was it in 2020 when the story broke, like the rest of us? Was it in 2020 August when he was interviewed by Mark Basant and asked a series of questions which included, why did he deposit $135,000 into Kamna Prasad Bissessa's account? And he said, I can't remember. It was so long ago. I can't remember. But whatever it was for, I'm sure that it was above board and it was legitimate. But I can't remember. You deposit $135,000 into the account of the Prime Minister and can't remember what it was for. Now, Trinidad and Tobago, Mark, Jerome Moses, Ricky, whoever your name is, right? Whatever character you're playing today. Tell me, if you deposited $135,000 into the account of the Prime Minister, whether it was 2 years ago, 4 years ago, 10 years ago, wouldn't you remember that, Mark? Trinidad and Tobago, anyone remember that? This is not $13, no. This is $135,000 into the account of the Prime Minister, and he can't remember what it was for. But she, who is twice his age, she could remember. And she come and give us a cock and bull story too. That ain't making no sense. But don't worry, information coming soon with respect to that. Right? But she could remember, he can't remember. So now Victor come in to tell us, yeah, you see that man from Princestown? Well, I can't trust him. Because he can't explain how $3 million end up in his mother's account and his mother is a housewife. She's a housewife, but he can't explain. She don't want to answer how the money come. Well, if it's legitimate and you could show, you could explain your wealth, then we're running from the police for. You could show, well, look, this is where the money came from. It's a legitimate source, right? Claim a name. That didn't happen. That didn't happen. Instead, she hop on a plane and she going to America saying she's going to take care of her grandchild. Right. And now Victor is questioning that, the legitimacy of that claim. So Victor, you didn't know that in 2021. You didn't know that in 2022. You had no concerns about Mr. Padarat in 2023. It's now 2024, you have concerns. What about the rest of all here? Rushton have concerns about Barry too? Anita have concerns about Barry too? What about Dinesh? You have concerns about Barry and this $3 million too? You all have concerns about the contracts, the $17 million worth of contracts that Barry get between 2011 and 2015 when he and his mommy opened a business, a contracting business. Before that, mommy never opened up, run a parlor. You need to think she knows to run chicken in the backyard. But company open, mommy has no experience, as the article says she's a housewife. Barry has no experience, but yet still, they get millions of dollars in contracts, bid for contracts in which companies that have years of experience and accustomed doing work for the government in these areas, and their bids were lower than Barry and Imami bid. They lost out and Barry and Imami got the contract. But that is part of the course. You know why? Because there was nothing untoward there. Barry and they were just good. They have no experience, and their bid was the highest of all the bidders, but they got the contract fair and square. The tenders evaluation committee looked at their bid and everybody else's bid and came to the decision. Theirs is the best bid. On what grounds, what basis? I have no idea. But Victor is concerned, and Victor is telling us now, Barry can't be trusted. But we know that long time. Even before Barry became a member of parliament, Victor, we knew that. Nothing new. He didn't tell us nothing new then. Show me a lion, I'll show you a thief. If they can lie in the little things. For 4 years, Victor said nothing about that. Victor running his program, Facts Not Fiction. When Anna Roberts can't do Douglas politics, Victor used to sit in for him. Not once between 2020 and May 2020 when this story broke, and up until this week, did Victor ever talk about that? Express concerns about Barry and the legitimacy of Barry's excuse for this $3 million. Never did it. But now, he on a different slate and they fighting. Now mouth open and Tory jump out. Victor now decide he ain't buying that story. No one to tell us that Barry under police investigation and FIU investigation as to how that money end up in Mammy account. But Mark wants to come here and tell me nonsense about what's going on under Keith Rowley and the PLM in this country. You serious, Mark? But he have no issue with such a person because Barry is the shadow MP the shadow minister for public utilities. So Mark has no problems with the UNC coming back into office in 2025 and a man who is currently under police investigation. Police investigation, because the FIU said they have no investigative powers with respect to this money, could be the next Minister of Public Utilities, right? And how many more contracts Mommy will get? And not just Mommy, you tell your cousin, your auntie, your uncle, and then, oh, go and open business now, man. Open business and all you go get contract. I, as minister, will make sure that I will give instructions to make sure you get contract, all of us going and get contract. And even if I get 5 years as minister, after that, when I leave office, everybody fix. Well, you're good to go. We will suckle on the treasury for 5 years. Now Victor wants to tell us that. Why you didn't tell us that in 2020, Victor? Not that it mattered, because they still lost. But now Barry is more prominent. Barry was getting $20,500 a month to carry Gamla Plus, carry her handbag, and stand up behind her. Okay, you say look pretty. Yeah. They stand up behind her like a wooden judge in a Rambo session and looking so, like if he is Secret Service. $20,500 a month she pay he for them. But they want to talk up anyway. And that is who telling them put us back in office. Put them back. Yeah. So now they're fighting each other like cat and dog. I wish the election, the internal election was the 15th of July, instead. So we could get a whole extra month. And you know how much things would have come out? Because now you have Rodney telling us, training them, don't mash my corner now. Because remember I have secrets. And if I let them vex, I'll bust the files. I will release the secrets and embarrass the party. So leave me alone. Don't be calling me no Makarama, no Mahani Makarama and all them things. Right? Leave me alone. Why I feel he's still sitting down to her left? Why I feel he's still there, despite the fact that she said, Chief, we need to fix that, Why is Rodney still there? And she's still uncomfortable. And as soon as she finished her presentation, she gets up to leave. Because she couldn't sit down for the whole time next to Rodney. She didn't know what to do. Every time she looked, she go to glance left, she remember Rodney right there. She getting stiff neck, only looking to the right of the speaker. Sit down there, and she uncomfortable in her own skin. So the only thing she could do was to get up and leave. Get up and leave. But she wants to be the prime minister of this country again. Right? Mark have no problem with a woman who wants to be, what's she buying? What position she buying for? I don't even know. But you, when sitting in a car with a man who is on charges for being in possession of an illegal firearm. So Mark would have no problem. She's the shadow minister for local government. So Mark have no problem with having a government where the local government minister, every time she comes to parliament, she'll probably be wearing shades when she does come, because to hide the black eyes. To hide the black eyes because she a punching bag for a criminal. But he has no problem with that. So your man is a criminal and you are the minister of local government. What do you think could happen there? Now everything about her, she ain't gonna do nothing wrong. No. Maybe coughing you in your eye, slamming your head into the door and the dashboard and all of these different things. When he tell you want a contract or give you partner a contract, what are you gonna do? Tell him no? And what do you think the consequences of that would be? I just ask him. But Mark have no problem with people like that, forming government. Kamala fired about 20-something ministers? So she's setting up the plane now to fire 20-something more if they come back into office. And look at the people. A set of crooks. All of them have issues. And it seems that's the only people she could attract. So if nobody of integrity, according to Rodney Charles, wants to associate themselves with the UNC, then if they win power, win office, who are they going and get to serve as government ministers? When persons of integrity say we want nothing to do with Ole, whether in office or out of office, forget that. Forget my name. Who you feel like going and put? False papers, crew coming back. But Mark, I have no problem with that. And when we talk about that, they want to tell us that Balize juice, we drink Balize juice. Right? Well, I would love to know what it is all you're drinking. Either if all you're drinking Balize juice is the rays of the setting sun like it's scorch all your brain. There's something very wrong with it. So there was an article in the newspaper yesterday, and I see it come in a different newspaper today. The unfortunate killing of this young businessman in Cuba, right? The 37-year-old businessman. It was a home invasion, and from what we read was that 3 men carrying guns and cutlasses would have gotten into the home, and they demanded money. Told the man, when he opened the door, based on what I read this morning, the alarm went off. He opened the bedroom door to go outside, and he saw the men, I guess, in the corridor. Tried to close back the door. The men pushed the door, tell him to close it. Right? They took him, they put some licks on him, carry him downstairs. They got $3,000, I think, upstairs. And then they went downstairs and got another $30,000. And the man was subsequently shot and died. And it's most unfortunate that that has happened. But yet again, what it has done is created a platform now for supporters of the UNC to again make the case that persons of East Indian descent, because the gentleman is of East Indian descent, are targets for home invasions, right, by the, what they call it, the urban youth. So the urban youth live in Port of Spain and they. Now, I don't like to cast aspersions. I don't know how, because there are many, they live in Cuba in this area, based on what the article said, they only moved in a year ago. So there are many houses in that area. And why did they target that specific house? And how did they know there was money? Because they get $3,000, so how did they know that there was more than $3,000 in the house? So again, as I say, I don't know what is the circumstances, but it's just some bits of information that causes you to go, yes, it's unfortunate, right? Even as the man's father-in-law said, well, let's take the money, the man had cars, or they could have taken the cars, spare his life. Well, they had to kill him. I agree with that. Why did they have to kill him? Chico, yeah, boy, you come to Chico. But then again, motive. In these things, not because of the unfortunate circumstance, in this case where the guy died, you can simply turn a blind eye to potential motive, right? Some things just do add up. Just like the case with the other businessman from South who was shot in his car a month or so, a couple months ago. And again, they said the same thing, that the crime situation and Rowley and Hines and all of this, and that business people are under siege. And then we saw a story a couple of weeks ago with a policeman who is currently detained in Venezuela for prostitution and human trafficking, who, based on police intelligence and what was revealed in that story, is that the man may have had some link to that whole situation with the prostitution and the like, right, and the human trafficking and so on, that there may have been some involvement in that. There was the story also spoke about cotton notes, some $5 million or so in cotton notes that was exchanged at central bank, despite the fact that the government is no longer taking these cotton notes. But somehow, based on what the story said, that the individual, the businessman who was killed, that he may have had a link, some link or something, so with respect to getting the money changed, the money was changed, and then he not have want to give it back to the people and so on. And perhaps that might have played a part as to why he's now deceased. So the backstory to these things are important, because we see the first story and we say home invasion and all they're doing is they want to kill people and take what they have and whatnot. But sometimes it's important to get the backstory to some of these things. I'm not saying that it's correct that you should kill. But at the end of the day, sometimes people are involved in things that results in, unfortunately, as they say, if it wasn't there, your name wouldn't call. Right? But when I read the comments, 700 and something comments under this story about this Cuba businessman who was killed. And of course, they waded into the government, waded into Dr. Rowley, waded into Mr. Hines and the commissioner of police And all kind of comment about great is the PNM. Yeah, only vote for that, vote for the PNM. And I was just reading these comments, Of course, some of them, I couldn't help it. I needed to reply to some of them because the comments were really, really ridiculous. Because when you tell them, UNC have a hand to play in the situation, they want to hear that, oh, it's the government. Such as the headline in one of the newspapers. No one said. Crime is government's business. AmCham TT head, the American Chamber of Commerce. Private sector ready to help, but crime is government's business. Right? This is one of the men and women of letters that former President Anthony Kambona spoke about. Crime is government's business. Really? Right. So I was telling you all in the comments, they wasted. And I read this article. And you know, I just have to say, right, that this particular article I read a couple of days ago should be shared constantly. Constantly. On every PNM social media page. On whether it's Facebook, TikTok, wherever else. Right? Because that's what the UNC would have done. That when you have the personal attorney of the leader of the opposition can make this statement, brace for more crime, UNC will pay high price. Israel Khan is not PNM. He's a self-declared supporter of the UNC. I won't read the whole thing, but that's just a piece. The failure of the government and the opposition, and this article is from since the 21st of November, 2020. The failure of the government and the opposition to come to a middle ground and extend the life of the Anti-Gang Amendment Bill 2020 could only lead to higher levels of crime in TNT, says Senior Counsel Attorney Israel Khan. Today, we are seeing that prophecy having come true. Israel Khan told us in 2020, and I repeat, the failure of the government and the opposition to come to a middle ground and extend the life of the Anti-Gang Amendment Bill 2020 could only lead to higher levels of crime in TNT. Crime will get worse, but the UNC will pay a high political price for not supporting that bill. The people who are not blinded by PNM or UNC, the intelligentsia in the country would not vote for a party that is indirectly supporting crime. Israel Khan, the man that the UNC put up as their candidate to be president of this country in 2020, told us the UNC is indirectly supporting crime. How? By their failure to support legislation that could assist the police and by extension the state in incarcerating these men who are committing these crimes. And when they are caught, because the law allows them to apply for bail and get bail, they get in bail and going back outside. And then we have the supporters of that party talking nonsense about the Constitution guarantee them the right to apply for bail, but applying for bail don't mean that you will get it. But they completely ignore the fact that you keep seeing, notwithstanding what they are saying, that application for bail doesn't mean you get it. More often than not, when these guys apply for bail, they get in it. For serious crimes such as murder, and while out on murder, committing other crimes, coming back before the court, applying for bail for the latest offense, and getting bail, notwithstanding the fact that they're on bail for murder. Right? And in both instances, the reason why they're able to do that is, one, because the UNC refused to support the bail amendment bill. They refused to support the anti-gang legislation, right? Because any law that impinges on somebody's constitutional right requires a special majority, which the government does not have. The PNM does not have it. This is why we tell people when you go to the polls, understand, you're not going to the polls simply for the government to win 21 seats so that they could form government. You need to give them a significant majority so that they could do the work for the people. Don't give them a slim majority where they need the support of a recalcitrant opposition who, as Israel Khan is telling us here, are selfish and hoping that if it is they don't support the legislation and crime goes up as he prophesied and has happened, that somehow the population will say the PNM can handle the crime situation. People not feeling safe, and we need to elect a party that could fix the crime situation so that we could go back to feeling safe. So they are prepared to see people being gunned down, people being killed, right? And as Pandey said, it is not the job of the opposition to make the government look good. collateral damage. So what? So people dying? Yes. But par for the course. We need that so that we can get back into office, and then we will fix it. But all of the policies and strategies that they are articulating night after night on their platforms and so on, nothing speaks to treating with reducing crime. All they're offering is solutions or strategies, not even solutions, strategies to be able to assist, well, not even assist, is to be able to defend yourself when the criminals come. No strategies to reduce the amount of home invasions. No, we will give you a gun and we will introduce stand your ground laws so that when the bandits come and when the men who want to invade your home come, that you stand a chance to defend yourself. Rather than say, well, we have this strategy to ensure that we will eradicate and eliminate home invasions. But they come in to tell you, well, put us back in office and we will bring a special home invasion law where the penalty will be 25 years in jail. You want to incarcerate people for 25 years for home invasion, but then at the same time, you're defending their right to get bail. That making sense? Tell me if that making sense. I want to lock you up, but I don't want to lock you up. But I will only lock you up after your matter is heard, and if you're found guilty, I will lock you up for 25 years. But if it takes 25 years for your matter to come to court, for your matter to be heard, for you to be determined if you're innocent or you're guilty, if it's taking 25 years, I don't want you to spend that 25 years behind bars, right? I want you to be outside there, continuing to do what you do best, supporting your family. Yeah, because according to Gianti, we don't want to create single-parent homes. We don't want to deprive your children of their father. Yeah, they need to have a father figure in their life, and we don't want your wife or your girl or whatever it is to have to struggle to make ends meet because you're not there to provide that financial support from monies that you take from people who are working hard for it, because you don't want to do no honest work. So a man work hard and you have the money and you hear you have money in the house and you want to get a gun wherever, you break into the house, take the man money. If you feel to, depending on the mood that you're in, you decide to kill him, and then you carry that money home to support your child. And meanwhile, his children are out without a father. So somebody tell Giantina, whichever way it goes, you're ending up at single parent homes. Because guess what? This guy has 2 children, according to the article. I think it's an 8-year-old and an 11-year-old. He is now deceased. So his house has now become a single parent home, Gianti. And if today or tomorrow, the police were to catch the perpetrators, within a week or so, they will be back out on the streets, Gianti, because according to you, they have a constitutional right to apply for bail, and to deny them bail would result in single-parent homes. But granting them bail, Gianti, is also resulting in single-parent homes. You think Gianti could go and say that to this man's wife and distraught children? Well, I'm so sorry, my condolences on the passing of your husband, but, you know, it is what it is. We still support his killers getting bail if they are caught. We support that. Because we don't want them to get, oh, come on, what are you doing, man? I hope that was not it. Yeah, that is Gianti offering, UNC offering. So let me just, right, let me see this here, right? The government presented an amendment to extend the life of the bill for another 30 months. It required a 3/5 majority of the 41 MPs of passage. Can calls on all politicians to carry out the work of the nation and not just represent their own narrow interests. I cry shame on the UNC for protecting their selfish narrow interests. He didn't cry shame on the PNM because the PNM wanted the bill to pass. The Attorney General begged the UNC, please, 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 I beg you all. Let me forget the politics for once. Please give us the support that we need so that when these men commit these crimes and they are held, and even if they are associated with a gang or whatever, and they are held, that they would be incarcerated, they would be on remand, they're not out on the streets to continue to terrorize citizens. And they rock back in their chair and say, and Champas are in charge. Well, all right, pass the bill. Munila, only remember that? Remember when Champa said, we in charge now? Deal with it? Well, only deal with it. Let me see, I tell all you, Any major legislation, all you bring here, all you need our support for it. Right? And if all you can get we support, pray to God and hope that he could by some miracle give all you. But all you ain't getting that support from we. Let me see all you. And all you in charge, show the country all you in charge. We had to deal with it. Well, all right. We dealing with it. Go ahead. Pass it. Call for division. Mrs. Pasabi says, sir, no. Mr. Charles, no. Mr. Lee, no. Mr. Munilal, Dr. Munilal, no. Mr. Hussein, no. Ms. Amin, no. Mr. Ratiram, no. Dr. Bodo, no. Ms. Haynes, no. Right? We ain't supporting that. That is how it goes. I continue. He said, I cry shame on the UNC for protecting their selfish, narrow interests. They believe that if crime exists and there is a disruption in society, that will assist them in getting back into government because people will be fed up with the present government. That is a very selfish approach in the politics of this country. Senior Counsel Martin Daly told the Sunday Guardian that he is disappointed that there was a lack of any cooperation between the government and the opposition. The government begged. They begged, pleaded with the opposition for the support. Instead, what did they do? Munilala come up and say the statistics, bring us the data to show that this legislation is working. Because the statistics show it reading like a binary card, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0. All you're locking up enough people under this legislation. It ain't making sense. TNT opposition refuses to support anti-gang legislation. November 22nd, 2020. Port of Spain, Trinidad. This is an article in the Jamaica Observer. Right? So Jamaica observing what's happening here. Police Commissioner Gary Griffith says petty politics took precedence as opposition UNC legislators on Friday night failed to support an extension of the anti-gang legislation that the police had said was necessary in the continued fight against criminal activity in Trinidad and Tobago. The current legislation expires at the end of the month. Unfortunately, petty politics yet again takes precedence over doing what is right for the country. This is Gary Griffith quoting here. We just arrested a major person of interest involved in gang activity, over 70 in the last few years. It was a major deterrent that contributed to over 115 less murders this year compared to the same period last year. Gary Griffith, who was then Commissioner of Police, is telling you that this anti-gang legislation that the UNC refused to vote for and coming to tell you that it's reading like a binary card and not enough people get locked up. He is saying that that single piece of legislation was responsible for over 115 less murders in 2020 than in 2019. He goes on, it seems that this bill was an issue for some politicians. Heaven forbid, if and when gang-related murders increase, I hope that those who rejected the bill would be prepared to answer to their God and the citizens of this country. Gary, you're still waiting for Kamala and her and the next 18 of them to answer to their God and the citizens of the country? A dejected Griffith wrote on social media after the parliament failed to give the green light to the 30-month extension of the legislation that was first introduced by the UNC-dominated People's Partnership government in 2011. So it was good legislation 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15. Right? When they were in office and they realized the benefit and how it was curbing crime. PNM come into office now, and we need to continue to perpetrate or perpetuate this narrative that when the PNM in power, crime does go up. And how do we do that? Bring an end to the legislation that Gary Griffith is telling us was critical in at least reducing the murder rate by at least 115 in 1 year. Speaking on a television program on Friday night, Griffith said the law was responsible for the reduction in murders this year. He told viewers that the only time the law was abused was following its introduction during the state of emergency in 2011, where over 200 people were arrested, resulting in almost all being released without charge, and many later successfully filing lawsuits against the state. This is the second occasion that the opposition has failed to support the legislation, having done so in 2018 when the government sought an extension of the sunset clause. Earlier, as he piloted the Anti-Gang Bill 2020, which gives police extra powers against criminal gangs, Attorney General Faris Al-Rawi told legislators that the number of gang members in the country had fallen by more than half. Citing figures provided by the TTPS, the AG said the number of gang members dropped by 38% from 211 to 129 gangs during the 2-year period, 2018 to 2020. He said a major contributor to the legislation was the ability of law enforcement to detain a suspect for 22 hours, which a judicial officer could then extend to up to 14 days. Al-Rawi said he agreed with the Police Commissioner Griffith's view that the bill did not need a sunset clause, which limits it for the next 30 months. Let me see what, right. However, in opposing the measure, opposition legislator Saddam Hussein said the bill did nothing to address murders and safety in Trinidad and Tobago, noting that the 7.5-year law was not effective as evident by the statistics. This law has had no impact whatsoever on the murder rate in Trinidad and Tobago. This legislative insanity, this government is incompetent and inept, bereft of any plans. They have no additional policies, only coming with laws with the expectation to reduce crime. Laws alone won't reduce crime. Really? I'll be glad that you know that, Saddam. Hussein said many of the offenses under the anti-gang legislation exist as part of other laws and asked how many charges were brought in the last 30 months for coercing someone to join a gang or persuading someone not to leave a gang, or the number of properties seized from gangsters. How many have been charged with counseling of a gang member or a gang leader? The opposition is not going to be any rubber stamp to this PNM government. They can't come to this parliament with all of this narrative and say this bill needs to pass. Otherwise, all hell will break loose and the sky will fall. Madam Speaker, we heard that so many times and the sky is still here. But it wasn't just the PNM was saying that, Saddam. Kamla Prasad Bissasa's attorney said it. The then Commissioner of Police said it, Saddam. So even if you want to come and say that the PNM was... So in their estimation, it makes more sense to get rid of the law, right? Because getting rid of the law that he claims has had no impact on fighting crime. Rather than at least you have the law there. And if need be, the police could use it. It's no longer law. So it's not there for the police to use, right? And apparently, by removing the law, the crime situation has improved. Keeping it, he say, will not improve the crime situation. But apparently removing it did. And Saddam, that making sense. That makes sense to him. The man who has hopes to be this country's next attorney general, who wants to boast and beat his chest that he was this country's youngest attorney general. All of them have ulterior motives. That's why they hold it on to Kamla just still. Because they know that for the day Kamla go under, their political careers are over. All of them had to go and pick out their tombstone for the political cemetery. Correct. But that's what they fight. So they want to beat up on the Prime Minister and beat up on the Minister of National Security. So when I saw this article, crime is government business. Cham Titi here, private sector to help. And then we have another article which says, Cuba businessmen fleeing censure. And on Friday night, 2 television stations, TV6 and CNC3, had panels in place to discuss the media review. CNC3 had Dax Driver, who is the head of the Energy Chamber, Dr. Marlene Atz, and I can't remember the guy's name. And then on TV6, they had Dr. Valmiki Arjun, Indira Sajiwan, and some other economists. And Dr. Arjun, with all respect to him, as a CIC alumnus, right, a loyal son of the old white and blue, so I give him that respect. I am no economist, but I listened to a lot of stuff that Dr. Arjun said, and to me, anyway, let me keep it respectful, right? Because I'm hearing Dr. Arjun saying that businessmen in Trinidad don't want to do business in Trinidad because of the crime situation, and they're not expanding their businesses, and they're looking to take their capital and go abroad, and they're investing outside and so on because of the crime situation in Trinidad and Tobago. Really? And that nobody wants to come to Trinidad and Tobago, and if it is that we're looking at tourism, that people not coming here because of the crime situation. Jamaica has recorded so far for the year over 500 murders, right? They're just a little less than where they were last year. For 2023, the unofficial figures for Jamaica was 1,393 murders. For the last donkey years, how much years, decade or so, Jamaica has been recording in excess of 1,000 murders every year, despite the best efforts of the government. Right? I think I saw in yesterday's newspaper, the same article, that the murder rate in Trinidad and Tobago year to date is about 247 murders, which to my mind is still too high. But Jamaica has crossed over 500 murders for the year. Yet still, they can boast that they have had close to 2 million tourists come to Jamaica for the year, in the first 5 months of the year, earning them $1.8 billion in foreign exchange. A country that is recording over 1,000 murders every year. 2022, 1,511 murders. And that's not the only crime taking place in Jamaica, but yet still, tourists seem to be flocking to Jamaica, whose crime situation seems to be infinitely worse than ours. But you have Dr. Arjun coming to tell us that people are coming here because of the crime situation, and businessmen not investing and expanding their businesses because of the crime situation and the money they had to spend for security and so on. Somebody needs to tell Dr. Arjun he needs to leave his office in UV a little bit more, right? Because I just saw Starbucks open the latest branch downtown at the corner of Shakon Street and Independence Square, a building that had been unoccupied for a couple of years now after B-Mobile moved out one of their flagship stores. And the few times that I passed there, I have noticed that outlet, just like KFC, a little higher up the road, ram out. Extra Foods, I think just a few months ago, would have opened their newest branch in Arangwes, there, right after you pass the Arangwes 5 on the left, the latest branch. But according to he, there's no expansion taking place. When you drive down the Nasalura Maya Road, going down Shagonas, there between the Ministry of Agriculture and go down to Price Plaza, there is a new mall called M6 Plaza that opened there. And most of the spaces in M6 Plaza are currently occupied. In some cases, you have stores there that are bigger than stores that these businesses currently have. And soon enough, probably by the end of the year, I'm sure M6 Plaza might be fully occupied. But according to Dr. Arjun, the business community not spending the money and they're not expanding businesses. But Ansa Makal just invested $200 million to expand the line, to put in a new production line in Carib Brewery, right? In Trinidad and Tobago, they spent that money. The same Ansa Makal that was reported a few months ago would have won the bid to take over Trin City Mall. We have a new mall that opened a few months ago in Trin City, despite the fact that there was already a mall called East Gates Mall. And when you go inside there, you're hard pressed to get parking space at any time of the day, any day of the week. And it have most of the spaces in that mall are occupied. But according to Dr. Arjun, economist extraordinaire, businesses not spending the money in Trinidad and they're not expanding. But in a country where you have over 1,000 murders every year, for the last how many years, you have businessman Derek Chin, who owns the state of Trinidad and Tobago $94 million in taxes, has indicated he's looking to expand in Jamaica. Jamaica, which has a serious crime problem. So I'm confused. Businessmen in Trinidad don't want to expand the business because of the crime situation, which is not as bad as Jamaica. But they leave in Trinidad to go to Jamaica to establish business there, despite their crime situation. That logic not logicking for me. It's making sense, right? And then to listen again to Indira Sajiwan Ali. You know what has upset me with these people? The media houses call them to come and talk, right? Patel is saying they run Philip from his gates. No, I was not aware of that, Patel. They bring in these economists, they're bright. So if them say it right, because they went and studied and they had a doctorate, a PhD, so they could call themselves doctors, so that means they're bright. So the rest of us who don't have PhD, we just have to listen and take what they say to be gospel, right? We can't apply common sense. They sit down on the panel and they talk about diversification and we need to diversify the economy and the government are doing enough to diversify the economy and they've not seen the government done anything to any way of diversification. But not one word of mention of any of the programs that the government currently has in place, right? The Ministry of Youth Development and National Service, the Ministry of Trade and Industry, the programs and the facilities that they have in place to promote entrepreneurship. They ain't talk about that at all. No mention made about that. But Indira Sajiwa and Ali want to talk about brain drain and how our best and brightest are leaving Trinidad and Tobago and they're going abroad because they don't want to stay here because of the crime situation. And they don't want to stay here because there are no economic opportunities. As if citizens of Trinidad and Tobago who might have a degree in this and a degree in that going abroad is a problem. If we have every year persons graduating from UE with degrees in business administration and degrees in accounting and degrees in whatever, and our economy does not possess the absorptive capacity to employ all of these people, what is wrong with them going abroad and finding jobs abroad and then sending money back home? I wonder if Dr. Sajiwan Ali knows that that is one of the ways that Singapore, a country that they always love to reference because they're doing so well and is the envy of the world, that is one of the things that they do. They spend their money to educate their citizens so the citizens could go abroad and get jobs abroad, high-paying jobs, earn big salaries in US dollars, and then send remittances back home to Singapore. That is one of the ways that Singapore generates foreign exchange. But they can't advocate for that to happen here. So if it is a Trinidadian citizen who will in the government because they don't want to stay here, they go abroad. So what is wrong with them going abroad? We have a lot of young persons who in secondary school, as I told you all before, doing SATs in lower 6, getting full scholarships and going abroad. And then when they finish their course of study, job opportunities are being offered to them. And they choose to stay over there. They choose to stay over there. What's the problem? They still have family here. So they can't send money back home here for their family members here. I heard Dr. Arjun talking about businesses now closing up and going abroad and running their businesses remotely. Interesting to see in this article that he happens to be the vice president of the Shawana's Chamber of Commerce. This article that says businessmen fleeing Central. And you know, when I hear them say these things, I'm amazed. They make it seem as if it's so easy that you could just decide, here, what, not crime too bad in Trinidad, I go into America. And you just pick up yourself and you jump on a plane and you go to America and what? That's how it is done? You ain't have no green card. You don't have citizenship. But you could just pick up yourself and hop on a plane and go to the United States of America and buy a house and open a business just so. Because that's how it is good. And that is the impression that they want to give you. Or you could just pick up yourself and go to Canada and that's how it is good. And you don't need to have any kind of residency or nothing. You just pick up yourself and go. If only it were that easy. If only. But that is the impression that these PhD holders want to give you. But they will never speak about the things that the government is doing, so that while the opposition forces, and not just the UNC, the rest of them talking about creating jobs and creating jobs and creating jobs. The PNM is putting facilities in place to create entrepreneurs, to create business owners. The United States boasts that their economy rests on the back of small businesses. Right? And small businesses open up, they make money, they pay taxes, and the majority of the taxes that sustains the US economy comes from small and medium-sized businesses. Right? And this government is trying to do that, to replicate that in Trinidad and Tobago by offering grants to small business owners to expand their business, by offering grants and technical support to people who have business ideas but may not have the seed capital to start their business. Persons who have a business idea, but they're afraid to go and to leave the 8 to 4 or the 9 to 5 job because they have that security that comes from when I have a guaranteed paycheck every month. And I don't want to take my little savings that I have to go into this business and then it doesn't pan out because it's me alone doing all the work and I don't have support and then it fails. And my little kakada that I had as a buffer is gone. The government said, don't touch your kakada. Come, we will give you the money to start your business. We will give you the technical support. If the business starts to run into problems, guess what? We have technical persons who will sit with you, whether it's persons working in NEDCO, persons who working in the SBC, the Small Business Development Corporation, and so on. We have people in the Ministry of Trade and so on who will sit with you. Now, Republic Bank has come on board and said, here, what? We're giving loans of up to $100,000, but we're not just giving you loans. We are giving you the technical support as well because we want your business to thrive. So we're not just giving you money until you go and run your business. We're giving you training. Come and sit down in a classroom for 3 weeks, 6 weeks, as the case may be, and understand the finer points. And if it is when you start your business, you still need support, come back to us and we will have the experts come and sit with you and show you what you could do, what adjustments you could make to steady the course and ensure your business succeeds. Because when your business succeeds, the government succeeds and the bank succeeds. But they ain't talking about that. No mention of that from Indira Sajiwan Ali. No mention of that from Dr. Arjun. So the government is doing nothing. Go down Tucker Valley and see the facilities that they have set up there for the Shade House program. Go on Balaka City website. Well, kudos to Mr. Cummings, Minister Cummings. I see he's now making the rounds. So last week he was on several radio stations and television stations talking about the many programs that his ministry offers. Kudos to him. Long overdue, but better late than never. Right? Congratulations to you for that. But unfortunately, the persons who have platforms and who could spread the word ain't doing it. But they relish an opportunity to come on TV, to talk, to use a set of big words, to show the population how bright they are. Because I named Doctor. I named Doctor. And misrepresenting the situation wouldn't offer a single. Well, all right, let me not go there. But I want to also offer kudos to the Minister of Finance. And I think I'll probably play his contribution too, where he spoke about the issue of foreign exchange and the expectation that some people have. And he called them out, those of you who are hoarding millions of US dollars overseas. You're taking the US from the banks here and sending it abroad and creating an artificial shortage in Trinidad and Tobago, hoping that the government, in an attempt to preserve the country's foreign exchange, will devalue the TT dollar to maybe $8 or $10, and then all of us start to flood the market with US dollars because you could make a profit. Because you can make a $4 profit or whatever it is. But these are patriots doing that, bringing your country's economy to its knees by engaging in that type of selfish activity and hoping what? I was surprised when Dave Tanku got up to speak, to make his contribution, right? And then talking nonsense about, the only people who talking about devaluing the TT dollar is them on that side, is the government, the only people talking. Apparently, Dave Tanku hasn't seen the UNC's National Economic Transformation Plan that Kamla Persad-Bissessa as recent as 2 or 3 weeks ago told the population, if you want to know what their plan is for the economy, you could pull it up online and read it. Their National Economic Transformation Plan, that was the manifesto in 2020, which specifically says that if they come back into office, that they will disband or they will get rid of what is currently called the managed or dirty float. Because the US dollar, right, we're supposed to have a floating exchange rate that should be determined by the forces of demand and supply. So when demand is low and when supply is low and demand is high, the price of US is supposed to go up. But very early on in the life of this administration, the Minister of Finance, before he became Minister of Finance, while on the hustings, indicated that should the PNM come into office, they would use the country's foreign reserves in order to defend the exchange rate. They will allow it to slide up to a point, and then thereafter, they will intervene with the country's foreign reserves to provide supply to defend and maintain the exchange rate at about 6.79 or thereabouts, which they have done for the last 9 years. But had they adopted the approach as indicated in the UNC's manifesto, where they will seek to preserve the country's foreign reserves, and they will do away with the managed float system and allow the demand and supply, the forces of demand and supply to determine the exchange rate, that what you will see is that it will no longer be in quick order, that the cost of $1 or the value of a US dollar to the TT will move from 6.79 or 6.779, depending on what day, to $7, $8, $9, and they are prepared to continue to leave it just so they could stockpile foreign reserves and say, look, we build back up the country's foreign reserves. We are now at 15 months of import cover. Look, we have billions of US sitting in the bank, and meanwhile, the citizens need it. The business community needs it, but all you're not giving it to them. No. Leave it there in the central bank to stockpile so we could beat our chest, and when the IMF come, we could say, look, we have 15 months of import cover, the highest we've ever had. Look, we have 20 months of import cover, give us a good rating. And the money sit down in the central bank collecting dust, and citizens need it. And as a result of your decision to stockpile US, to build up foreign reserves so you could pat yourself on the back and make records and say you had the highest foreign reserves in the country's history, The citizens now have to pay the price because the cost of living going to go up. Because when the manufacturing sector and the business sector who importing stuff, and the groceries and whoever and the wholesalers importing this stuff, whereas under the PNM, they were paying $6.79 or whatever it is, or $6.80 in the bank for US, those who get in it, they now have to pay $10 to get it from the banks. And if that is the price, and they still maintain an artificial shortage because the greed is such 10 to 1, that is not enough. We want more. Let me see if we could get it to reach 14 and 15, and then we will. So you still have to go on the black market to get it. And the price of everything going to go up because the businessman had to make back the extra $1 or $2 or $3 they had to pay for the US. And how did they do that? Jack up the price of everything that they import in. The consumer and the customer will have to pay the price. So the cost of living is going to go up. And the minister mentioned that in the parliament. He and the government, which he is a part of, will not devalue the TT dollar because they know the impact it will have on the cost of living. So all who balling now, we oppressed and we suffering and the cost of living so high and Rowley responsible. Wait till Kamala come back. Read the National Economic Transformation Plan. It's right inside it. All you feel I lie. It's there. Read it and see for yourself. That is what their plan is. So when all you put them back into office and that happens, don't come and complain. If I was still on radio and they win office and then that happens and all you come to complain, I tell all you to get off the blasted radio. I cut you off one time. Don't want to hear you because you were warned. You were warned, but all you don't read. Right? But come in here on my life to talk rubbish about why I don't talk about the foolish BBS that's going on in the country under the PNM. What going on? Explain to me. The extra $23 billion extra that they put the exchequer account in. You know what this government could have done with that? You know how much things they could have done with that? They wouldn't have had to borrow as much. If it is, the UNC didn't spend that $23 billion and we have nothing to show for it. But a damn sure, if it is the PNM was in office, that $22 billion, if it was spent, we would have seen a lot more than what we have on show from what they did. But they don't ever talk about that. In the interest of time, let me just read one more thing here. You know, I love it when let me see, where you at? Right. When people call into that radio program on 91.9 and say things like, I do my research and no other Caribbean country have problems of foreign exchange except Trinidad and Tobago. Nowhere else it is. Let me read this article for you that was posted on the 7th of June, 2024. 2 days ago, right? 2 days ago. Bank of Guyana pours US dollars into banking system to stabilize foreign currency markets in Guyana. Amid complaints of the long wait to access foreign currency and suspicions of a shortage, government has asked the Bank of Guyana to pour more US dollars into the system to stabilize the situation, Vice President Bharat Jagdeo has said. Kaita has in the past received reports from affected businessmen who were having a difficulty in sourcing US currency to pay for their goods. Those who were unable to access foreign currency ended up paying higher rates for the US dollar just to make payments on time and restock their businesses. Persons were beginning to fear that there might have been a shortage and that exchange rate would skyrocket. Kaita News has raised the concern with the Vice President at previous press conferences. However, on Thursday at his weekly press conference, this time held at the office of the President, Jagdeo outlined the escalating demand for foreign currency, driven by importation and other financial transactions, had caused prolonged waiting times and a significant disparity between supply and demand within the banking sector. We have seen a situation where we have had short-term mismatch, and we have asked the central bank to make a major injection in the country's foreign currency market. And this morning, most people said the market is entirely clear. So he said. He emphasized the government's vigilant oversight of the banking sector, underscoring its readiness to intervene when necessary. And addressing the timing of the intervention, Jagdeo clarified. Previously, we had seen that overall the market was clearing itself, although there was a waiting list for a number of importers. The market was clearing itself because on a daily basis, we watch the aggregate foreign currency available to the bank. We don't want the rate to appreciate too much because that will lead to another set of problems. But we don't want the rate to depreciate too much. Notably, Guyana's import expenditure for 2024 has surpassed $5 billion US, with a significant portion originating from the United States. In the latest exchange rate update provided by the central bank, the buying price for US stands at Guyanese $207.98, with a selling price of Guyanese $210.45. And additionally, the buying and selling prices for Canadian dollars, 152 Guyanese. Euros exchange rate is reported at $225.89 Guyanese. Buying and selling price $228.79. Back in April this year, the newspaper reported that despite numerous complaints of long waiting time at local banks to access foreign currency, Jagde was adamant that there was no sustained shortage of the US dollar in Guyana, and his government has not seen anything to indicate such. He said back then the administration received daily reports from the central bank and no shortage had been reported. Jagdeo explained that the administration believes the choppiness of demand, when you look at the entire market on aggregate supply and aggregate demand, it should even itself out at a rate that doesn't seem too massive. So in Guyana, where they have all the oil money, they have all the oil, and businessmen in Guyana and citizens in Guyana catching their in to get foreign exchange, but they have oil, 650,000 barrels of oil per day. 2 days ago, I saw a story on the news that said ExxonMobil has earned over $1 trillion US from Guyana since they started operations. 1 trillion US. You know what? Our foreign reserves is about 5-point-something billion US. You know how much is Guyana's? Less than $1 billion US. Right? About 791 million US is their foreign reserves. And they have all this oil and all this gas. Well, they haven't started gas production yet, but all this oil that ExxonMobil is selling, 650,000 barrels of oil per day. Why is that not reflected? Why is Guyana having a problem with respect to foreign exchange? You know why? When you want to give generous tax concessions to the energy companies to come and dig out your eye, as the People's Partnership did between 2010 to 2015, and advocating now, vividly advocating for this government to do the same thing. So all that oil come out and gone, all them trillions of dollars gone, never to be seen again. And the people of Guyana, have they benefited from it? ExxonMobil making sure they take as much as they could before those concessions run out. That's why Glenlal had to commend Dr. Rowley and Stuart Young. Because if we had that kind of oil here, bet your bottom dollar, Trinidad and Tobago would have, not even, because they wouldn't even call us the United States or the Caribbean, not even the Dubai or the Caribbean. Right? Things would have been rosy, sweet. But don't worry, 2027 soon come. Dragon, Manatee, Kokina, Lauren, just make sure when you all go to the polls next year, you make the right choice. So make sure that whoever, that the party in power that will be managing those proceeds. Well, if all you vote for the UNC, they have no proceeds. They forget Dragon, forget Lauren, forget Manatee, and forget Kokina. Forget all of that, right? Because Nicolas Maduro, as long as he is president, don't want nothing to do with Kamala. The LC don't want nothing to do with Anel Roberts. They don't want nothing to do with David Lee and all of them who supporting Guaido. Yeah, who has now become a ghost, a figment of their imagination. So I leave that in your court. It is now 1:05. Yeah, I'm gonna go too late. So forgive me. And the phone already blazing. Let me see who we have here. Hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Good day, Daman darling. How are you?
I am good.
Thank you for the word today. For the PM government, God, who's doing a good work, Father. I pray, God, that you will encourage him, Father. That God, when Moses' hand went limp, they were hurt live of their hands, Father. And I pray, God, it's not by might or by power, Father God, but it is by your Holy Spirit, Father. I speak well over this land, Father. I speak well over Venezuela, oh Lord, but your hands will be upon them, Father. That you will turn these nations' hearts back to your Father. In no other name, Jesus Christ, amen.
Amen.
The hate for the PNM is demonic. In speaking ill of this land continuously, how can you be blessed? You're speaking ill of this land in your own home, in your own atmosphere. God said, let there be, and there was. The curtains, the sheets, the bed will produce after what they say. They don't have to like you, we don't have to agree. But I am born here. I must be civic minded. I must be patriotic. What news, good news, do you have to give? Nothing. The same country, damn it. You want to govern? Ready? Make it make sense. Talking about integrity, Rodney Charles, you kept quiet. Victor Charles, you kept quiet. Why not have integrity? Because he had what? Robert said that paid him including Robert Freddie. One person who can be sure try something. Technology said, come, Karen, have your way, but you know what? He still won. Because he knew his worth. Come as a dictator to the Jim Jones of Tobago politics. And all who know about talking her is part of the problem. Because you sat there with her wrongdoing, her lies, slander, misinformation, and said nothing. There's an acrimonious war going on between the parties in that party.
Yeah. Jenny. I don't know what happened. Jen, come back. Let me answer you through the phone because I realized when I answer through the laptop, the call cuts in. Let's see if I get it here. Just hold on one second. This one. This one, John, one second. Hold on there, John. Let me just switch this device. Jenny, you there?
Yeah, right here.
Right, go ahead.
Hi.
Morning. Afternoon, sorry.
It's morning or evening?
Afternoon.
Right. See, normally got to know, see, listening on social media and listening for you. I just want to go on another vein of what you're speaking about, the safety. You tell me that you're talking about the column. That basically the thing is bad. It made me feel that I am seeing different than what you're seeing on Sunday and Fourth and media. Last night, I really had pleasure to go on a concert in Guyana. The promoter was Ricky Ragunan. And this is what Ricky Ragunan would have said in the newspapers for before this day. Revolutionary training that was seen. Ricky Ragunan told the prison to operate legal function. So, we are major plans of presidential theory. This regardless mark can be enough for us to make a company.
You're sounding a little muffled, Jen.
So, I want to hear you. Just a minute. You hear me? I need that different?
Much better.
Right. So, as I was saying, I had the fortunate opportunity to go to rural reggae concert with my husband yesterday at the Queen's Festival.
Right.
And the promoter was one Ricky Ragunana.
Mm-hmm.
And in a newspaper report before the concert, this is what he would have said, right? Part of it. Revolutionizing the reggae scene, Ricky Ragunana proudly presents the World of Reggae Mega Concert. Forming a major part of Redemption series. You remember they used to have having a set of Redemption concerts.
Yes.
That.
Yes.
Right, so he was a part of that. So he said he has rebranded, and this marks a new era for his promotional company, reflecting their commitment and pushing boundaries and embracing innovation. He said after starting Redemption brand with a former partner, Raghunandan felt it was an appropriate time to start an international brand and plans to take World of Reggae throughout the region and other countries. And say he has never spared any cost when coming to giving people top-class artists. So I will start on that simply to say, when they continue to say, we're suffering in poverty, there's no business, nobody opening business, nobody invested, Ricky Raghunandan does not subscribe to that type of thing, right? So let me tell you about the show last night. It was ram out, as young people were saying.
Mm-hmm.
It was packed to capacity, and the vibes was nice. One of the persons who listen right now on this program, he was there. If it's the same person, Winston Jones, I think it is, and he could testify to what I'm saying. The vibe was mellow because the government has decriminalized marijuana. Some people may not like it, but that's another conversation. And you're allowed to walk with 50 something grams, or whatever the case is. So you don't get shaken down if you walk in the path with a split. Right. So people will lighten up the smoking, the vibes was nice, it was love. One DJ, while we were waiting for entertainers to come on stage, because between entertainers finishing, they had a little time while they're setting up the band. So DJs were taking it. One DJ came on stage and said, we suffering, we hungry, and the government only raising everything. We are nothing and all that. And I felt that to be so disgusted. Because one, I'm sure he's getting paid last night. I am sure the Jamaican artists are getting paid based on what Ricky Raghunandan said. He has never spared costs to giving people top-class entertainers. And the Jamaican artists who came here, we're talking about Berton Weezy, Shabarans, and some others, Anthony D, John Mason, them is top there. But you're looking in the crowd as a DJ and see the place packed with people. You see the world-class entertainers who here, and you telling people on the stage, the government only raising things and how we suffering and hungry. But what was even worse, another one, an MC, sometime in the show come up and bring Christmas list on stage. And telling the crowd, look, this is Christmas list, and he did not get the response he expected. Because people was not on that.
Right.
And I'm asking, why would you do that? Why would you in a show that all types of people are there from different political affiliation, whether they vote, they don't vote, they like TNN, UNC, whatever it is, Rasta, whoever, and start to talk about people suffering and hungry and the government. And I want to say the first time I've gone on a show, we have seen so much of our Indian brothers and sisters attending. And I love the vibes. Everybody was one there. And I suspect it may have to do with the promoter, whose surname seems to be of Indian descent.
Right.
And I want to wish Mr. Ricky Raghunandan all the success. Because those concerts, because people, they gravitate to things that suit them. And if people like those kind of shows, they have them in a nice frame of mind, they smoke, they read, whatever it is, not getting no trouble with nobody, and the responsible people, big people was there, was no little children, was a mature crowd, and not everybody in our vibes. I support that. Because we have enough crime and thing outside. And imagine the entertainers came up there and were begging the young people in this country put down the gun. Sing lyrics that are not gunman lyrics. Sing lyrics to build the society, build Trinidad, because they love Trinidad. They love coming here. And you have a DJ come up and bring up Christmas list on stage. A man who was seen in videos going all over in places where the residents of those areas say it's border like they can't come. And was seeing the kind of firepower, I don't know if it's real or not, in their hands. And you have the entertainers from Jamaica telling me here, put down the gun, telling young people put down the gun. And you bring up a white man who represents the same thing they're talking about that we shouldn't have in this society, and bring them up in a concert like that. And I'm saying something is fundamentally wrong with our thinking. I don't know if they do it for money, or it's just that they highly illiterate and just function at different levels. But I felt it was out of place in a show like that. So again, I'll come back to Ricky Raghunandan. Apparently has found an innovative way to make money while using the art, the culture, and the music that we love in the Caribbean as a vehicle to do that. So I reject that woman, Sajuan and all the others, and she talking about the bright music, but probably the reason why she did it because she's not bright. Because if she was, she would be talking that, but all of them jostling for space to be relevant, and because they know it's only in Trinidad that can have a voice. Them can't go and stand up in no international forum and represent nothing because they don't know nothing. I prefer to listen to Dr. Marlene Ash because she's very balanced in what she's saying. She don't mince words, she has a way of saying it, and she said what she has to say. And again, congratulations to Brian Charles Lara. He was up in England there to celebrate the 501 runs that he would have made, that record that was taken as broken. And when you see him in space, when the colonial people who deep down here, so walking on tiptoe, almost speakers, he was standing with them head and head as an equal, and they treated him the same way, and he had that respect. So again, I want to end by saying that concert I went last night is not a reflection of what Kamla Prasad said and they portrayed at this time. I saw people of Indian descent dancing, having a good time. Everybody has won. The vibe was good. People were out. They spent the money because general was $400, and that was packed to capacity. And the thing was nice. Had no problems, no fight, nothing. But just two individuals decided to use that platform. I don't know if they pay them to do it or what we do, to talk out of time and talk and just show you again as a state that they are failing in what they're trying to project in this country, like Kamla Prasad said Sunday. So they're trying to pull out all this stuff, even in the face of all the evidence there. But again, if it is a liar, as you say, as my mother used to say, when they can run from a murderer, you can't run from a liar. When you can run from a thief, you can't run from a liar. And a liar could be a thief and a murderer. And that is where I risk Kamla Prasad and all those who support the UNC and all the other fractions. Because, you know, Philip Alexander, looking great and horrible looking, talking about all parties must come back. The same party, he said that Gary tell him 40 million was paid to fund criminals. And all the things he said about Gary, all the things he said about Kamla, all that, is he talking about. The only way to be the PN is to bring back all these people who always say, them say involved with criminals. Them say Kamla is a trouble. Them say who involved in human trafficking. Them say this, them say that. All the talk about journalism to be the PN, and it tells me those people have nothing good for this country. But I'll make you have a blessed one. Everybody locked on. Have a blessed week. We'll talk again.
Thank you, Jen. And belated birthday greetings to Mother Tunapuna, who celebrated her 76th birthday on, I think it was Friday, was it? So again, greetings to you, Mother, and I trust that it was a blessed one and a memorable one as well. Hello, good afternoon.
Dominic,
Oh, Lord Father, I'll leave it there.
what's going on?
All is well.
Look at boy.
I know whenever you hear Maduro name mentioned, you just jump out. Go ahead.
Who's that?
Whenever you hear me mention Maduro, I know you just jump out. Go ahead.
No, not today, next time.
Okay.
I hear you play a tape for Mr. Manning,
Yes, I did. 2, in fact.
and a man calling to tell me why I just be talking about Mr. Manning, and Mr. Manning done dead and God already. Doesn't know the place.
Oh, Lord.
Hey, Dominic,
Leave it there.
let me tell you next one about Dr. Rowley now.
Uh-huh.
Dr. Rowley called a meeting in Forwards, Diego Martin Community Center.
Mhm.
Dr. Rowley told the people of Diego Martin how he wants to make Diego Martin a borough.
Uh-huh.
And he wants to make Siparia a borough.
Mhm.
He couldn't find nowhere else but Siparia. He wouldn't leave the woman alone.
Mhm.
Dominic, the week after on the news, the people of Diego Martin say how they were not impressed. Dominic, they were not impressed linking Diego Martin with Siparia. Dominic, he wouldn't leave the woman alone. And I ain't done yet if you will talk again.
Yeah.
Dominic, I will leave it there for now.
Leave it. Well, I think a handful of people from Diego Martin saying that they were not impressed doesn't represent all of Diego Martin. First of all, and interestingly, the people of Siparia who were saying that they're not thing there, so what's the sense in that? And Kamala herself, so what's the point of that? No benefit. But from what I understand, the first celebrations for Borough Day in Siparia, they couldn't stick a pin. If you see them, they ram out, they're happy. The same that they didn't want. They weren't impressed with. See Siparia Borough Corporation, do not Miru, Mia Miru. But if Dr. Rowley had only done it for PNM and not a UNC area, we would have heard a different story. Eh? Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dominic.
Good afternoon.
Dominic,
Yes, ma'am.
please don't entertain leave it there. He's something to my head. Please, you don't have big man. I find it so big and foolish and stupid. Leave Dr. Rowley alone. He's not taking man. Leave him alone. Big foolish man. You don't feel stupid and sick. People always have to be embarrassing you. Leave Dominic alone. Sorry, Dominic, I'm fed up with this stupid man. What do you want with Patrick Manning? We all love Mr. Manning. Mr. Manning is dead and gone. We are PNM. We want to see the country run properly. Leave it there, go and find a woman or find something to do in your house now. It's fed up for you, man. You're getting people real upset. You're every day the same door to stock. Please, Dominic, have a nice day.
You too.
Fed up for this man. You don't feel stupid and funny? Only talking nonsense. Big man like you, one time from to do and show your grandchildren the proper thing. Have a nice day, Dominic.
You too.
We enjoyed the parody. Even though I didn't go,
Yes.
it could have been better because only Forest Park rum they had put up as banners. But the rum looked just like you. Have a nice day.
You too. Even there, he upsetted people. Hello, good afternoon. Yeah, we lost that one. Former government minister under the PNM and under Mr. Manning's administration, Young Hippolyte, you all may have remembered him. I think he was the member of parliament for, was it Laventil West, I think it was, or one of the Laventil seats. Anyway, he is seeking the public's assistance because he was diagnosed with leukemia. And so it says here, many people know him from wearing different hats when it comes to giving service, and he recently had been diagnosed with acute adult T-cell leukemia lymphoma. His doctors advise it's a very rare and aggressive type of cancer, which unfortunately cannot be treated in the Caribbean. And both him and his team have suggested that going to Miami for much needed urgent treatment. His treatment is that of a bone marrow transplant, which is the only permanent cure to save his life, and this is a sudden diagnosis, and finance can be a huge challenge. So if anybody wants to donate to assist Mr. Hippolyte, former government minister under the Manning administration and former Member of Parliament. You can do so at GMMB Bank in Tunapuna. The account number is 007-700-015-767, or you can contact Mr. Hippolyte at 468-2257 if you are desirous of making a donation. I see he has a GoFundMe set up. They are seeking to raise $700,000, and as a point, well, reading this, they are 2% of that goal, $15,363 of the $700,000 has been raised. Right, so you could just pull him up on Facebook, Nailion Hippolyte, and you see the link that takes you to the GoFundMe account, and you'll be able to donate, make a donation to his cause to help him in this fight against cancer. Right. So, hello, good afternoon. Hello.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up, brother?
Hi, good man. Greetings.
Greetings. Nice. Watching the drama going on with and in the
Oh.
I've seen playing a song linking on yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm worried what happened with Parkinson.
Mm.
You know, moving on. Remember the Guyana is connected. Guyana.
Yes.
This on that. So, it's my love slight in them connected. Guyana was it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But listen, the people Friday what happened with the bill include energy.
I'm not too sure. I can check. As you said that, I'll check and see.
Yeah, because when I came in, also I watched all the end with the foolishness and listen, these people just are no talking. I mean, the minister come to wrap up already wrap up. I don't know. I don't. What was the point of interesting getting up and so on?
Mm-hmm.
And speaking, it was just. I believe it's trying to. Philip was trying to our parliament, but I don't fit to our parliament. I don't
yes.
in the US parliament. Understand?
Yes.
The minister was wrapping up just about going forward and take yes or no and left one. Right? But for me, the Prime Minister and the Minister of Energy and the Governor Salvo.
Yes.
And so on. And when you listen to the feeble response from the opposition, you understand? And they feel that while the Prime Minister don't believe she will him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is somebody who wants to lead, who another political leader, some appointed says is very hard and works hard for him and so on. And you can even sit through our whole parliament.
Yes.
And then when you look at her body language, she was at King's. Look to her immediate left. You understand?
Yeah. Yes.
She was at King, but watching camera angle, because it's the focus on the at the periphery, which the other members are interestingly. So today I'm going to Facebook and I'm watching one of the lines with them is Paris that's tired of cruising. Until I'm going to look at the comments, 430 comments. My brother, I must read about 20.
Yeah.
And if you vitriol against a particular individual with an African song name, who suggests, yes, it is whether he supports Paris. And of course, all the other people came down him and that comment in the center. And split the UNC votes and keep them in power, right? What Paris talking about? And if I'm saying this is a sample of the electorate of that asking next week. I think Mr. Parry and them and well. I mean, I had to go through the motion done there already.
Yes.
It's clear among the supporters of they are quite happy with leadership. You know, any problem. I was like, wow. I mean, one of us. I mean, and the boys just savage them as well. One on the other. You understand? Saying that this is credible alternative. They do better. Oh, you recall them, Dominic? But just as fast. We had our first conversation after that. Nobody expressed it. It described the fact of that the budget, which was $85 a barrel, and it has been constantly below that. So I wasn't surprised in seeing the deficit.
Right.
Understand? I expected. But I'm just saying that for me, understand you want to maximize, but in the energy sector, I think it's not really being being realistic, because when you watch the prices, both and the other one, the tech too.
Yes.
Let's expect them to be a WTI.
Yes.
It's the first time that there really hasn't been a disparity between them in terms of the rating. They have consistently, for instance, the budget was passed in 78 and 79, that they really crossed the $8 range or even above. Except for probably a bit after the budget was passed.
Right.
But well, you know what I like the government to address what is the fate of the legacy project that you and down there in Cape that was supposed to be the South Campus view. Like that to tell us what would be the fate of that?
Right.
How they would do that. Understand? Because they're going to continue to make them thing a talking point. Only the CE centers are not only primary schools and every schools that they had been building that would not open and allow to get vandalized and so on.
Yes.
So I want them to make a difference with regard to those. No?
Yes.
But I was satisfied with the explanation given by the media review. But I say that exactly as the minister said, our budget estimated to never be sure of what of forces that you do not contribute. And what was said to me, to understand, be reasonable with it, that with the place that was used in it was paid to.
Right.
That was my only. But I was quite, I am sure that going forward we will realize the gain. But I hope sometime you will talk about that $1 billion that Son has raised Guyanese exploits. Coming back to the Guyanese the taxation. When you can, and those arrangements were advised by one thing and Kevin Ramnaran.
Yes.
And Exxon has realized that I want $10 any from that, but Guyanese people are only 55%. But people are wanted to demonize the efforts of Mr. Young and Dr. Rowley and really push to multinationals here successful. And really multinationals have no problem. Right?
Yes.
I will in the near future you will that first and bring further clarification.
I will.
Right? That's what I read there.
Certainly.
Yes, enjoy the rest of the afternoon.
You too, sir. Right. There was something I wanted to touch on. 770-1763. We still have a little bit of time, 24 minutes. Yeah, so I'll stop at 2. So if you want to call in and give your 2 cents. So I see the situation with Gary Griffith, who, well, as I say, tried to pull off our song to offer his services to the Prime Minister and the government, knowing full well that such an offer and overture would have been rejected. We see it for the politics that it is, right? To say, well, look at China thing, and then CNC3 went out on the street to ask people their opinion. Do you think that the Prime Minister and the government should accept Gary Griffith's offer of help? And the majority of people said yes, because they felt that Gary Griffiths did such a wonderful job when he was Commissioner of Police. And anyway. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Hi.
Yes, tell me again.
Mm-hmm.
People are offended and me calling you down and praying. Too bad. I pray because I have to pray.
Yes.
Before Pani became Prime Minister, I told my friends that. Before I ever actually became Chief Justice, I told them that. You remember 2 years ago when the gate fell by the Red House?
Yes.
I told you that it came to pass. Before the Bacalao, but the Beatum, I saw it. What ended? Too bad. I will say what God has me say, and I will do what God has me. You don't like it? So, that one more thing. Do you remember 2011? Sorry, Griffith. If he was all that on a bag of chips, Gary explained to us 2011. Because you're pushing yourself forward. After you behave like a mental case in a temple, you were the People's Partnership. But there was an SOE. Explain why. Gary's pushing himself forward to be an adult. You are playing games because you want to be Prime Minister. But you have to be all here. And are trolling people at midnight hour. The PM is building nation's business. And you are on Facebook come against people say, oh look, Gary. Get a pair of pampers, a bottle, a soft toy, a blanket, and go take a rest. Because you are not material fit for the arena of politics. You are very thin-skinned. Your ego is so big. It says that you are lacking something in your life because you attack people all the time. I'm not saying don't defend yourself, but be about nation building. Somebody wrote about sale or somebody's look. Because the same people called cockroach are the ones you want to vote for you. Don't my darling, be blessed. As for the dumb surprise from who bet, rock up. Bye later.
Thank you. Hello, good afternoon.
Dominic!
Oh, Lord, Father.
You know, I don't like to call twice.
Really? All right.
You hear how Dr. Rowley gave like a raging bull in the Parliament Friday?
No, I saw it and he didn't behave like a raging bull. I looked at it in its entirety.
Hey, Dominic.
Yes, sir.
I heard Jenny say how she rather listen to Dr. Marlene Arts. Michaela Pandey did an interview with Dr. Arts on 95.5. Dr. Arts told Michaela she have her support because Michaela is introducing where the people in the community is going to choose the people to represent them. And Dominic, I am supporting Michaela Pandey. I'm putting it out there. Once I leave Dr. Rowley at the head of that PNM, I'm supporting Michaela Pandey. I will leave it there.
Well, look how PNF people go and advocate for Dr. Rowley to stay. Oh, loss. If the duck planning to leave, well, now self PNF people go and say, he better stay. They should have never seen that. Oh, Lord. Hey. Hello?
What am I?
Yeah, Jen.
The astronaut, that is leave it there. Did he understand the context in what I was saying? I like to listen to Dr. Adimas. It had to do with the economics, because I was comparing her conversation with Sajuan and them. So leave it there. It's a long time you're trying to call me to get a conversation with me. Me and you can't get along because apparently you like what I like. And I don't be in competition with people who like what I like. Yeah? So here I'll leave it with and tell you, leave it there. Go find your back, CAT, and clean it. Because like a woman to get in the dance, I could get in the dance and go right over with you too. Yeah? So you have a blessed one. And go and clean it quick now. Because that wasn't meant for that purpose. That is only for out, not in. I'm going.
You know, so I'm seeing the Express puts out a question. Do you support plans to build a resort at Rocky Point, Tobago? And again, I am reading these comments. See how many comments it have? Reading these comments, and this is just sandals all over again, right? When you look at the suggestions are so foolish. Foolish. They're coming about this thing about ecology, the turtles, all kind of rubbish. Nothing with sense. Let's go ahead. Pali done blank man already. Let them go ahead.
Hello?
Eric.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Oh gosh. Yeah, you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Alright. Namaste, good afternoon to you, the listeners, the callers of another section or segment of School of Factual and Intellectual Conversations. Right? Now, let's see, how should I go about this? Right. Leave it there. We don't care who you support. That is your right. We have no time to come and hear who you support. So jump with that. And I agree with Sister Jenny. Right? Because you're behaving as if you like the same thing that she like.
Oh, Lord.
So you call back to me like a canal. We have time for that. We live in relevant.
Eric, I don't know what's going on there. Call me back. Call me back, Eric. Hello,
hey, Dominic.
Yes, sir.
How are you going?
Hi, good man.
It was any conversation earlier. We all know that, and you know, the supporters of the UNC knows that they're not supporting anything so concerning with the crime, but they are the ones trying now to support the crime and the murder because they in on it too. They want to see more blood, more murders, and then blame PM government for it. But they also doesn't understand that the opposition has a critical role in governance. And if they don't play the part, they could never be, it will be hard for them to get into government because if they piloted bills and when they come into opposition, they're not supporting the same bills that are piloted. It sends a strong message to the voters. Not these party supporters, but the voters. That's the reason why they was not able, after 2010 losing 29 seats, they tried to make a comeback in 2020, and even as there was more campaigning on the the oil refinery, yes, you know, they campaigned on that heavily, but still lost. Because Kamala felt that with the closing down of the refinery, should have get the help of the unions and those things that should have marched back into government, and it didn't work. So she continues on that same line. And they're doing all these other things. The UNC have not changed your pattern enough. Because I am seeing now the lawyer who can represent Foster Cummins is now put before the court, put before the government a pre-action protocol letter. And when you outline and put things in place that you could sit down and you could listen, you could understand why he would have advised Foster Cummins to do that, because what he didn't say in the I don't know if you listen to it, but what the lawyer representing Foster Cummins didn't say, and that will be a main factor in the court, is that there were a series on national television called Foster's Perils. And I had brought it up on I-95 with Daily Knox, because just talking about it tonight, politics, and I said, I have no problem. You see, once you have politicians and them and you believe or you have another idea that they may have some sort of something hiding or corruption, those things, and you want to talk about it, raise it as media personnel. But what Mark Bassan did was above and beyond at that time, because if they were still being investigated when Jantin leaked it in the parliament, the police thing, and he went and do his own investigation. And what he has put there, he hasn't put anything of material substance to say that Foster Cummins did anything wrong. What he has done to Foster Cummins is strip him down to his jaws. We know everything about Foster Cummins. All Foster Cummins business is transaction, the house he built. I don't know how he got inside the man house in the first place of film. The man house that he built, put forward and think that transactions from the credit union, asking the credit union to confirm certain things that they're putting, because they can't do that. The credit union cannot give the fellas like them that has to go to the FIU, police. They want to get all those information, and they would have had that information. And I was asking myself, I wonder if the officer who would have leaked the information to the opposition had given them all those information, and they have put that in Marcus' mailbox and sending me the directions to look and ask questions and those things, in order to repeat the same thing they did to Franklin Kahn and Eric Williams. To make a big mark, they look PNM and corruption, because they haven't been able to get PNM and no corruption. But the police have been investigating the man for over years. And they say, well, they're just investigating allegations. If you're investigating allegations for 5 years ago, come and tell the man something, ask the man a question. They didn't ask the man a question, they think so, and when he was investigating him. Now, when you say that to the media and the public, you will say that, look, listen, for another thing, police investigating him because he is corrupted. But if after 5 years, the police can get one shred of evidence that all they have before them is allegations, and somebody could tell them this and that, and they can't find out nothing. Because if it is so, Dominic, what would you say to come up with that Mr. she mentioned? Is she before the same police and them, and why didn't we call up office? But I'm sure come up with that Mr. would have been looked at by the police. Not only for she mentioned the Pink Palace, but for other things too. Because some of the things we see past, and some of the things that you see members of our party is facing the court before. I mean, you had to ask a question if Kamala didn't know anything about it too. And she sanctioned and put things in place. Those things that happen. And I can give you one little example, the Barry Padarat saga with the money. And then she say one thing, Barry say another thing. But the story another is that before the police. And if it's before the police, somebody should be there, the media should ask that question. But although we don't want to know exactly what's going to get solid, and then she could get a loophole to come out of it. But if the investigation is, but I'm just raising this information because I see this as a strong case, and it will be a landmark case when it hit the court. And if it goes in favor of foster comments, well, all right. Something has to be done, certain adjustments to the law that when people leaking information, especially police, some sensitive called confidential notes, they must have some sort of consequences on that. And you must do something about that because those things have backlashes in it. That once you leak confidential documents from the police, it could sully the case. Like, for instance, I heard they're talking about Bazio Pandey won the case against the London bank account and those things, but Bazio Pandey never won the case. Bazio Pandey on technicality get off, but there's still the fact that the London bank account and the luxurious apartment, and when asked by the media what Bazio Pandey say, well, I owe my own. So because of that respond to the public and to make that statement, it makes a possibility that there is a London bank account, but the problem is how did Bazio Pandey acquire that and did he declare it to the Integrity Commission? And that is what that's where the problem is there. Bazio Pandey wants to buy property in England or whatever, and think he's all well and free to do so. What he had was declared. And then the conversation behind that was allegations was about how he acquired it. And then we have the whole thing with the scandal with the airport and the kickbacks and all these things. And Bazio Pandey was just able to get off because of the police and them started investigation by not asking him certain questions before they charge him. You know? And I don't want to have that happen to Foster Cummings, but you can have him and 5 years you investigating him on what allegation. That you don't have no facts, you know nothing. On top of that, Mr. Marad has said that the former Commissioner of Police, Gary Gifford, has said there was nothing, no evidence of Foster did any wrongdoing. And even if you don't want to think when Magnuson bust the Foster quarrels, there was nothing in that to say that Foster Cummings was guilty of any wrongdoing there. Actually, it shows that he's a businessman who is a very acute and know how to handle his business. When he borrowed, he paid back. And if these institutions bend their rules to facilitate his loans, there's a private business, though there's no breaking of the law in that, they're taking risk. That is where once you are a lender of money, you have to take risk. When you lend in money, but the risk paid off for them. Because he paid off his loan with his interest, and the people make money, he makes his money and everything, and the man grow himself as a astute businessman. I haven't seen any wrongdoing in this. So I am waiting for that case to think, and then again, I've got to tie back into how UNC operates, how the senator, the UNC senator was leaked a document that is private, sensitive document she leaking him thing. Well, we will sit down and we'll listen. We'll see how that plays off, and we'll go take it from there, Dominic. Have a brilliant day, boy.
You too, sir. Thank you. Let's see something here. Oh Lord. So I got a fighters take place there on YouTube. Eric, we have 4 minutes. Let's see something here. Right. And so I was just touching on that thing quickly with respect to Gary Griffith and his offer to the government to assist with the crime fight. But again, Mr. Griffith would have indicated when he was commissioner of police, that the anti-gang legislation was critical and significant in reducing the murders, but I don't hear him advocating for the opposition to support that bill, right? So I'm not. Anyway, I don't know what to say. Hello, good day. Yes, sir. That's not. Hold 1 sec. Let me see what happened. Let me see. Just I think it's probably because. Yes, sir. When these devices are having to switch the devices and all kind of things, it'll be a little issue. Yes, sir. Let me try this now and see.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right. Well, I hear myself. You hear me right?
Yeah.
Right. What I was saying just now, I did busy talking. I've done lost touch of that already. But anyway, on. Oh God, I forgot what to do. But anyway, relative to this whole situation with right, with leave it there. What I was saying just now. Right? Leave it there. We don't want to hear you, right? You come, you make a contribution.
Put on. Oh Lord. I don't know what happened there. Like you had to make that contribution today, buddy. Hello, good afternoon. So, Mr. Chance. 1 sec, hold on. Oh Lord, I see leave it there want to call back again to make a back and leave it there why you're so. Right, Mr. Chance, you there?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, Dominic, again, very, very instructive discourse this morning as per usual.
Thank you.
But I want to focus my contribution on one area. It is an area in which I am very, very concerned as a citizen. And that is the attempts by the UNC, as well as certain segments of the media, to undermine the report of the IMF.
Yes.
I mean, that is an alarming, outrageous thing for me. Because over the last 2-3 weeks, I have read where the IMF had the economic analysis on China, India, United States, Singapore. I am following all these things. And I want to say to your listeners that the IMF is not a pick-up side of people who moving around like and so and so, you know. They have no relationship with Dr. Rowley, the president. Let me tell you what is the role of the IMF. The IMF is an international institution that focuses on assessing the financial stability of 190 countries of the world. Let me say that again. It is an international institution that focuses on assessing the financial stability of 190 countries of the world. It doesn't pick up side and come to Trinidad, you know. It's 109. They are well respected all over the world. The analysis of the IMF is a guide for people who want to do business in any country. They use the economic analysis of the IMF to give them a direction into where they will go and how much they will invest. This is serious business. And when you see the opposition leader go to the parliament and challenge statements of the IMF, could you understand that type of logic? And that is accepted. The media takes that and talk about it. In fact, TV6 had Dr. Demikia June and others, political rumps to the hall, coming and challenging the IMF. Do you think that Demikia June and any one of them could go to Germany or any country in Russia and say, come here to analyze the economic state of your country? They know them? They have any idea who these people are? Guy matters all over the place. And they are facing us and challenging the analysis. So let me just say to the people, you understand, that the directors of the IMF confirmed, remember the IMF were here just on the 11th of March. And their report went to the highest level of discourse at the IMF. And on the 5th of June, which is a few days ago, they confirmed what was the original analysis. And some of the things that caught my attention as a citizen, I just want to repeat it to you. And that is what the world sees. They do not see Kamala. They do not see the Mickey Achun. They do not see Maria Brown. They don't register anybody's mind in the 190 countries of the world. Hear what the 190 countries of the world have heard from the IMF. The financial sector is sound. The current account is in surplus. Foreign reserve is adequate at 8.3 months cover. Public financial buffers remain strong. You hear those words? Strong, adequate, good. Those are the things. Economic growth expects to gain momentum in 2024. When economic growth gains momentum, we, the ordinary people, benefit from it. Because there's a movement of money around the country. That's what economic growth means. There's a movement of money around the country. And here is last piece. The delivery of several planned natural gas projects will boost the growth in the energy sector in the years ahead. That is the work that Dr. Rowley and other churches have been doing. And Minister Churchill has reported to us, starting from 2026, we will start to get money from American Coquina. That is a gas field that has 1 trillion cubic feet of gas. Let me say it again. Starting from 2026, we will start to get billions of dollars from the American Coquina gas field, which has 1 trillion cubic feet of gas. From 2027, the international media Reuters tells us that we will start to get benefit from the Dragon gas field, which is 4.2 trillion cubic feet of gas. We will start to get billions of dollars from that. So the period 2026 to 2030 will be a period of opportunities for Trinidad and Tobago to increase its revenue by billions of dollars. Who will put to watch that money? You have an election in 2025. Who is going to look at that money? Are you going to put the crooks? Are you going to put the bandits? Are you going to put the hoodlums? Are you going to put those with cartel behavior? Do you really want the matter with respect to David Lee to go to the court? Do you want us to get our $1 billion from Miami? That is what you're voting about. You're voting about the future of your country. Because the future of your country is dependent on the revenue you have to spend on its people. And the government is telling you where the revenue is going to come from. Finally, let me say, the government made a very special effort to increase the revenue stream by bringing on the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority. What did the UNC do? They took it to the court, filed an injunction to stop it. My people, you know how much money they are trying to stop from us? You know how much people? A university professor, in doing his analysis, told us in 2018 that we are losing between $4 and $10 billion every year. You hear that? 4 and 10 billion every year in revenue. That is what that professor told us. So see how much money they're blocking? So when you make your decision in 2025, think. Thank you very much, Dominic.
Thank you, sir. So it is 2:07. I am past my 2 o'clock time. This is where I take my leave for today, folks. Thank you all so much, as always, for joining me. Always a pleasure to share with you my thoughts on some of the things that are happening in Trinidad and Tobago. Speaking of Tobago, still waiting. That issue with Farley and this hotel. I mentioned to you all just now with respect to that hotel that is supposed to be built in Rocky Bay, the Marriott. And, you know, it's a shame, huh? When you read the comments that are against this, a lot of them seem to be Trinidadians. Talking about the ecology of Tobago and the environment and how it affects the turtles and all them kind of thing. And they don't want, listen, they don't want nothing good for Tobago, right? And anything that could help the country, at least from the perspective of tourism. They don't want anything good to happen between now and the next election. No bell, no hotel, no new hotel in Tobago. When you read in here, it has so many hotels in Tobago that need work that you could refurbish and so on. No need to build a new one. But you can see in the manifesto talking about building a branded, a locally branded or something so hotel in Tobago, right? Put them back, and they will do that. But Tobago needs room stock of a particular caliber. We're talking 4 and 5 star, right? Now they have the Magdalena, I think they have the Comfort Inn, they have Stonehaven and stuff, they have Cocoa Reef. Anyway, let me not go there. Let me not go there, right? I'll leave it there. But just to say, they need this hotel. If it is that they are to attract conference tourism, they need hotels like that. Because as I told you, the conference that I attended in Dominica back in April, that is an annual conference held in different Caribbean countries. And Trinidad and Tobago is supposed to host it in 2026. And we are looking at it, but we would like to do it in Tobago. But again, the hotels in Tobago cannot hold the number of persons that would come, which leaves us with Trinidad. So all these people, these sandals, folks who run sandals and coming out to run Marriott, I hope Tobago and Tobagonians have sense. But then it's TPP. So let me take this final call. Hello?
Dominic.
Leave it there. You tell me you don't normally call back twice. Now you've called thrice.
That's right. No, I have to respond.
No, you don't need to respond.
Then I ask this question.
Lord. Yes, leave it.
Didn't Jenny say she rather listen to Dr. Malik Nats?
And she gave context as to why she said that.
Right, so just because I made a comment about Malik Nats on 95.5, Jenny had to get hot-headed?
No, you could have made a comment about Dr. Atz without referencing Jenny's comment. If you like Dr. Atz, you like Dr. Atz.
No, she mentioned the name, so it came to mind.
Right.
So I respond.
You responded based on what Jenny said, and Jenny called to correct you in terms of the context. She likes what Dr. Atz says with respect to her economic contributions as an economist. But Dr. Atz says, you sort of referenced Dr. Atz's comments with respect to Makila Pandey, which had nothing to do with what Jenny said.
She mentioned the name. That is why I respond.
Yeah, but
She mentioned the name, Dr. Malina.
But are you aware that Dr. Arts is a supporter of the PNM?
But she said this is why I told you. On the program, she said she was going to support Michaela.
No, she said she supported something that Michaela is advocating, which is that the people in the constituency should choose their representative. But Dr. Arts is PNM.
No, you have it wrong.
I don't have it wrong. You said she told Michaela she supports.
She had for support.
Right, and then you went on to say because Michaela said that she's going to choose, they're going to choose the representatives, allow the people in the constituency to choose. That's what you said.
Well, Dr. Arts.
That's what you said.
She's going to get points for that.
Right. And therefore, Jenny made her point that she likes Dr. Arts because of what Dr. Arts' position with respect to the economy and how she presents her information with respect to the economy. All right? So the same way you like
Jenny had to get that headed.
Because she felt that you misrepresented and the point you were trying to make, to say that Dr. Arts, you want to give the impression Dr. Arts change her support to Michaela. And Jenny says she liked Dr. Arts, so therefore you're trying to create a link between Jenny saying she liked Dr. Arts and Dr. Arts saying she supports Michaela. We saw what you're trying to do.
What I did in my book.
Listen. Leave it there. Leave it there.
I will leave it there.
Thank you. Folks, well, thank you all so much for joining me. What a way to end the program. What a way to end the program. Leave it there, go and watch the cricket. Oh, Lord. Folks, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. For those of you who are taking in the cricket, I hope the results are to your liking. Congratulations to the Trinidad and Tobago football team on that victory last night. 7-1 over the Bahamas. There are those who are seeking to pour cold water on it to say, well, who is Bahamas? Bahamas is a lightweight. But nevertheless, it's a victory. Because if it is that Trinidad and Tobago had lost, we would be hearing a totally different story from the very same people. So a victory is a victory, and 7-1 is pretty good. And we only hope and trust that they could continue in that vein with respect to similar performances in upcoming matches, as this is a World Cup qualifying campaign. And we would love to see them in the next World Cup as we did in 2006. So kudos to them, and forget the naysayers and the sour grapes people who would try to put down that when you all do win, they want to put licks on all you, and even when you win, they want to try and diminish the significance of that win by talking about the team that they play and all of that, and the team miss us with that BS, right? A win is a win, and we congratulate them, and onward and upward to these guys. They have the support of the true patriots of Trinidad and Tobago, not the bandwagonists who try to put them down. All right, so Bahrain said, leave it there like Bacana. Box Up Central said, it's bad, sad, and lonely. Oh Lord, how pathetic to call it for this kind of nonsense. Oh Lord, leave it there. You're losing friends on this this chat. Friend says, don't get them people no life. The man has broken down my phone on there, so. Oh, anyway, folks, thank you all so much. Let me go on and do what it is that I have to do. And God's willing, we will chat again on Tuesday morning. We'll see what the UNC has to offer tomorrow night on the forum. More than likely, they will have a forum because it's the last Monday before their internal election, last opportunity for them to cuss United Patriots. Yeah, so Tuesday.